you say, don't fart in this small room.
Oh, man, don't you dare.
What's the first...
Don't you dare.
I'm not saying that I'm going to. I'm just saying, what's the first thing that comes to your bowel's mind?
Yeah.
I don't want to taste the backside of you. That's all. I'm just saying.
But what if it tastes like donuts?
That's exactly what you're doing without actually going, orifice to orifice. You're putting it out in the air there. So, it's just the funny thing about that, it just gets in your head and it won't let it go.
A fart is literal poop particles that are traversing the air, and what you smell is literally poop particles in the air going into your nostril. It is as if the person pooped into your nose.
And what's interesting? Because of this knowledge now, I make it a point to close the toilet lid and leave the room right after I flush.
Here's the thing.
I don't want to be in the room when what I just put in there is flurrying around in there and wafting around in the air.
We all have an older brother.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure we've all tasted his fart at some point in our lives. All right? It has happened. So aren't we over this by now? Just a little bit.
Older brother, younger brother, you have definitely experienced that. Hey, I've got a sister too. Guess what, people? We all fart.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is true.
Yep.
This happens sometimes a little bit too regularly, but that depends on how much beans you've had in your diet, probably.
When you're one
I don't know
of
what it
those
is about
people that just
beans.
make it a point to do it on purpose all the time.
Drink a lot of milk and milk doesn't agree with you.
Yeah, milk does not agree with my inside. But I didn't have milk today.
Intolerant.
Yeah.
Intolerant.
I just had a,
intolerant.
Yeah, I just had
That's
a
such a funny
donut.
song. I love that song.
Yeah, only one person can enjoy it. One person.
For now.
For now.
For now.
For now, world.
And now there is Trevor.
And now there was two.
And Bassreich. And
There
there
was
was two. Hello.
Howdy,
it is the
howdy.
very beginning.
Yeah, this is
Stages
the one,
of the
two, the three,
We're just
and the
easing
four.
into it.
I say the one.
That's interesting. How
Two.
can we have one person watching but two people responding?
That
That's
doesn't make
because
any
YouTube
sense.
doesn't make sense anymore, because this is why everyone gets off of YouTube and eventually goes to all the other like Twitch and
All the
stuff.
other platforms that don't censor the crap out of everybody.
Oh, well, it's not even about censorship for the YouTubers.
They censor your viewership. They censor your views. They
Yes.
censor the comments.
That is all true and well, but that is not why the YouTubers leave. The YouTubers leave because everything showcases that everything's like perfect, but then there's like glitches and freeze framing and like
Not getting credit for what you've done.
I think it's because
Yeah.
Joe Rogan left, and everybody else is like, "Oh, Joe
demonetization for no good reason.
Joe,
No recourse.
Joe Rogan is genius because he really didn't leave.
No.
He fluffed his feathers and said, "I'm leaving," and then he sold his show to a different location. I think it was Spotify. Actually, I know it was Spotify. And so his show got sold for millions and millions and millions of dollars onto Spotify, which was super smart. And by the way, fun fact: do you guys know who
No.
Joe Rogan was inspired to do podcasting for?
Who's inspired to do podcasting
Yeah,
for? Fear Factor.
Joe Rogan did podcasting
Elon Musk.
by watching somebody.
Fear Factor.
Do you guys
by
know
watching
who he was
somebody?
inspired?
Rush Limbaugh.
No,
It's not
this
Howard
guy.
Stern.
This guy was a corny, weird guy who was way
Larry
ahead of
the
his
Cable Guy.
time. Super awkward. Super
Oh, Larry
crass.
King?
Nope. Super crass. The guy was on MTV a lot. Super
Larry
annoying.
Larry King's just a human vulture. I don't know why
His
nobody's
last name
noticed
was a
that yet.
color. His last name was a color.
Of your energy? Whoa.
Whoa. Hold on a second.
Color.
The
Seems
color
like I
of
should-
grass.
Seems like I should know this.
Something. That's
Tom Green?
Yes.
Tom
What? Ding, 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 ding,
What?
ding. Tom Green from MTV started the original, very first podcast. Tom Green is the grandfather of podcasting.
Well, now I
No
definitely don't want to do
kidding.
podcasting.
Yeah, podcasting. Tom Green is the
no wonder why I
grandfather
didn't
of
care because he's a
podcasting.
horrible person. So.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
rambling on.
Hey, I
about
didn't
Daddy
say
wanting some sausage.
what kind of person he was. I was
Well, I
actually I did. I said he was a terrible person.
I can't believe it.
No, Tom
Obviously,
Green.
he played it up and made it a point to be a horrible person, but I think deep down he just enjoyed the fact of finally letting his real freak flag fly.
Yeah,
you know?
no, Tom Green is the godfather of podcasting. He invented
kidding.
basically podcasting. He was one of the first ever to podcast, and he was definitely the number one most popular original podcasters in history. He's who made podcasting a thing. And Joe Rogan watched him, said, "Hey, this is a thing." Tom Green made this thing a thing.
Morals be damned, but if you can
Yeah.
sensationalize something, that's it. You
And
can make
so
money.
Joe Rogan watched Tom Green do this and if he can do this, I can do this. And so Joe Rogan then started doing
I
it.
feel like that's Joe Rogan's
Start doing it better.
career is if he could do this, I could do this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's everything he's ever done.
So Joe Rogan,
Fear Factor.
Yeah.
yeah. And so Joe Rogan started doing it, and now he's the most famous podcaster in the world. But back to Joe Rogan. He's going to Spotify, but it's not exclusive. It's not exclusive. So he's a little whore. Yeah, sorry, Joe Rogan, I love you to death, but he's actually going to.
You saw an opportunity and you took it.
Yeah. So what he did was he sold exclusivity for the entire show. So the entire show is only going to be found on Spotify. But guess what? Snippets are still found on YouTube.
Yeah, what do you know?
Guess what? Nobody wants to watch anything but snippets on YouTube. That's all we ever wanted. We only want 5-minute segments on YouTube. That's the YouTube audience.
Podcast.
Yeah, nobody ever watches his full podcast on YouTube. We never did that in the beginning. We always watched his full podcast broken down.
I guess YouTube is full of short attention spans, isn't it?
Yeah. I know, right?
So
which is a knock
except
against
for our target audience.
Which is a knock against us all. Don't get me
When was
wrong,
the first time you saw Joe Rogan?
Yes, I am a female body inspector.
What was the first thing you remember from Joe Rogan?
Trevor.
Joe Rogan, I think there was something before Fear Factor, but that's the first thing that I can recall.
I can only think of Fear Factor.
Yeah.
That was his first big break. I mean, big break.
Yeah.
Was Fear Factor, yes.
Only one I can really remember.
Sharpster says hi.
just a
Trevor
stand-up
says
comedian
what's
before that,
up.
right?
Was he?
Yes, he did. Zevius says, what's up, guys? Welcome back.
I thought he
yo,
did
that
stand-up
howdy.
comedy and UFC after he did Fear Factor. Like I feel like he dabbled in everything.
Yeah, he really wanted to get into
Pretty sure he
UFC.
was doing some kind of comedy before he did Fear Factor. Otherwise,
He's done stand-up comedy, though, almost his entire life. He was actually a stand-up comedian and was not
That's what I
popular.
No, maybe that's
and
why.
then he went and did Fear Factor, and then people started to recognize him, and he became a funny stand-up comedian all of a sudden because he was funny beforehand, but nobody thought so until they knew who he was.
I guess it goes to show you that actual truth in comedy doesn't go over very well. But if you put a serious tone to it in a podcast, suddenly it is still funny, but yet the truth kind of comes across a little bit softer.
Exactly. Let's see. Just
buff,
tuned in from Scotland. What is
Does he have the
up?
eye of the tiger is the question.
Dave wants to know, what about Mike Tyson's exhibition comeback? What do we think about that?
But he wants Holyfield, doesn't he?
I know he talked about, or no, he said that he was back because he actually
He's in
in
great
the gym.
shape. He's in great shape.
No
He's
kidding.
amazing.
I just don't know whether or not he's got
He
the eye of
looks
the tiger. 'Cause remember, at the end of his career, he got knocked out once, and then all of a sudden he didn't care anymore. Or it's like, since he won so many, and what got him, in that place in the first place, that fire that burned in him, was it burned out, I guess?
Yeah.
And
So
is
he's
that there again? I
He's
don't know.
going to have a lot of power still. He's not going to have as much as he did in his prime. He'll have a lot of power. He's still going to be able to take a punch, although he's going to be more susceptible to a knockout. Everyone is the older you get. So he's not going to have quite as much power, more
You can
susceptible
only
to a
survive so many
knockout.
concussions before they start to affect you a little worse.
Yeah, but the thing is he actually kind of went out early just because of the drama in his life, and so he actually didn't have as many fights as some other famous boxers.
Oh, he was just making
so
horrible
he's
decisions
actually
up to
going
that
to be
point.
okay with that. I guess my problem with him is his cardio. Someone that comes out of retirement, even when they've kept himself in relatively good shape, and he
was
done
at one point.
Yeah, he's done a good job of doing his own exercise off the record, so to speak. They always come back and say, "Oh, I'm doing cardio and I'm, all this and that," and they showcase them throwing gloves and stuff. But then they get into the boxing ring, and what happens is it's impressive for the first couple rounds, but they go against someone who's, been in the game and their cardio is off the charts.
in ring,
and those
stamina.
people
has current experience.
yeah, and those people survive the first 3 to 5 rounds because they just need to survive Mike Tyson's power, and they know that. So they survive the first 3 to 5 rounds, and then Mike Tyson's wears out, and then he has no more power, and then and then they either win because Mike Tyson's exhausted and they can beat him, or it just becomes a very boring match, and Mike Tyson loses a
technical knockout or whatever, or not technical knockout, but loses after so many rounds.
Yeah,
or-
well, it just either goes to the judges and he loses because the last 5 rounds suck, or and because of his cardio, or they end up getting a TKO at the end because he loses those last few rounds. I don't see him doing well in a comeback. I don't ever see comebacks.
It's all about
doing
being
well.
in ring shape. They say
Unless
the
you're
same
Rocky
thing about
Balboa.
wrestling.
If he can get a lucky shot in those first 3 to 4 rounds, he can win. He could beat.
Well, if they're not going to put him up against somebody huge, and that's like a champion, like
it's got to be fair. I mean, these things are sanctioned, so fights. So he's going to go against.
Okay,
the
so
heavyweight.
who else is making a comeback they need to put him against now?
That's the thing.
He wanted to go against Holyfield, is all I know, and I thought that'd be funny and bite off his other ear.
Well,
yeah, right.
if he went against somebody like that, they're all out of shape. So I guess he would do really well. I don't know.
I want to see him against Butterbean.
Butterbean. Yeah.
That would be terrible for poor Butterbean.
Butterbean could knock people
He would
out.
just punch Butterbean in the belly.
There was a Butterbean versus some random dude that I'd never seen before in wrestling on a WrestleMania of like 10 years ago.
Oh, dang
and
it.
it was the best
Slow-mo's
part of
on.
that
I forgot
entire
about that.
WrestleMania.
Let me see if I can figure out where
Slow-mo?
slow mode. It's on chat. Because let me see if I can turn enable slow mode, take slow mode.
Why is that even a thing?
Well, so the reason why I had it on was when I used to do the game, what happened was I'd get people responding to chat, and I'd have I'd have 10,000 people watching.
I thought you turned that off last week.
1,000 to 10,000 people watching, and they'd all be, and I couldn't even keep up with the chat.
I remember the good old days, because you pretty much needed me there to be able to try and field all the questions.
Yeah, and so he would just be like,
Good old days.
and we couldn't even
half the
keep
time
up.
You turn around and ask me questions, and I'm like, oh crap, I was reading questions. What?
Yeah, he'd ask you something. You're like, well, it's good.
Yeah, okay, I turned that off. So there we go. You guys can ask away. We'll try and keep up with it now. But yeah, no, it was really bad. If you have like 1,500 people or 2,000 people watching, and they were all asking questions at the same time, chat would be 1,500 questions at the same time.
This is a lot easier
They'd
to
be buried
keep
so
up
quick
with.
I couldn't keep up with all.
Oh
of them.
yeah.
Especially because they're
ZVS says things.
doing two things at once.
But when you only have,
Feels so much better now.
Yeah, when you only have 20 to 50 people watching,
Yeah.
it's so much easier to keep
About
up
tree
with those
fitting.
individuals. About tree fitting.
It'd be nice to have tree fitting
I
people.
said, what do you want, a Loch Ness monster?
Yeah.
It's about tree fitting.
About tree fitting.
That's right about tree fitting.
Well, I suppose
Nah.
we should probably get going, right?
I think we should do that puzzle instead.
Yeah, that's why I said, watch us put a puzzle together live. The audience sure seems to think it's a good idea.
Good idea.
Yeah.
1,000 pieces. I can get it done in about an hour. Let's do this.
Ooh, did I call that applause or what?
I know, right? Okay. Hey, I wanted to showcase something. Artisan K is actually an
yes.
artist. That's why we call him Artisan K. And I just had framed one of the
he
pieces
wasn't produced
he made.
from an artesian well. He is
Nope.
an artisan.
He actually made. I'm going to hold this back so you guys can't see it.
Yeah.
He actually made this for my channel over a year ago.
And now
but
it's
I finally
irrelevant.
had it. I finally had it framed. So I'm going to put this up here a little bit. Hold on.
Hold it. Plank, Pilates.
I know, right?
close.
That is so cool. I'm going to have it probably hung in the background.
Yeah, right there and right behind your head.
Yeah. He says to put it stage left.
Yeah.
Stage door left.
Probably right
on the
about
bricks.
there. Right about on the bricks. Right about there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see he's got the Lando outfit on.
To get a
Yeah,
hammer drill
Lando.
and a
I'm in a
masonry
Lando
bit.
outfit.
Warrior flag.
Got my warrior flag. I got a Lando gun. Wampa's missing his arm. Of
course.
That's Luke cut off.
Yep. He found that one.
Because that's canon. Our canon.
Yeah.
Screw this new canon.
I know, right?
Canon RD. Wait, no.
It's pretty awesome.
Canon D. Da, 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 da.
All right. Well, so the way it works, if you guys are new to the channel, we read some questions to each other and we give
happens.
ourselves the best answers possible, but you guys get to play along as well. If you're live, that's the best way of doing it. You get to put your answers in and we read them into the video and it becomes a permanent record on
want your
the
feedback.
video. That's right. We want
It
the feedback.
sustains us.
It sustains us. It feeds us. And so we'll read the comments inside of chat. But if you are watching this video after the fact, and there are about 500 to 1,000 of you that watch this after the fact, we will obviously still play with your comments as well. Put those in the chat after the video, and we'll read each and every one of those as well and comment back to those as well. So we want to read everyone's answers to all of the questions. Now we got to figure out who goes first. So the odd man goes out. You don't have to win or lose. You just have to be the odd man. So let's do it.
That's how we does it.
That's how we does it. You're odd man. You smashed us. We both did scissors, and he did the rock.
Oh, should I flip it? The first one on the top?
We're doing random
Tim.
cards now. We just did random.
I'm going to do an answer the internet. That's my start.
Answer the internet.
All right.
Okay.
It's a would you rather.
Ooh.
Would you rather have your own parking spot in front of the building, a hot assistant just for you, or a toilet for yourself at work?
I feel like we've had that one before, but
They say that.
that one I swear you did, and we did the whole private toilet
Yep.
conversation. Remember?
I do
That
recall.
one I feel like did get accidentally mixed in because the. But okay, but my answer. But hold on, my
But I
answer
digest.
has.
I mean, I digress.
No. My answer has actually changed. because
we both said private toilet, right?
We did. We both said private toilet because that's just who I am. I'm like, I don't like sharing. Yep. But since I got the 50th anniversary Camaro SS.
Now he wants a hot assistant. No.
Now it's a hot assistant. No.
I want to go full on midlife crisis. No.
Right? I want the private parking space. Like, I do not want anyone smacking my door. You know what I mean?
It.
Like,
well, it's not like it's in a bubble. I mean, or a garage.
It's a private parking space. I don't want anyone to my left, right, behind, or front. Like, I just leave my car alone. Like, I have to park at work in a back parking lot, which is less busy than the front one. So there we go. But I've got this guy that works next to me, and it's the irony, you guys, the irony. Story time. The irony of this, where I work to the right of me, because it's a little mini strip mall, right? I sell, mattresses in a little strip mall. This sounds bad. But so next to me is this little
better than out of the back of your van.
I know, right? But next to me is this eyeglass place, and there's a manager there, and he's managed it. I think he actually owns the place, and he parks in the back as well. But the dude parks like horribly, like every single day, and I'm like, you need glasses, and you manage or own the eyeglass place. Like, maybe the irony there.
Coke bottles.
Yeah, it's really, really bad because he literally parks, like, he takes 2 spots, and it's always like at an angle, or he's forwards, but I've seen him park. This isn't intentional. He's just like,
I can't be bothered for any common courtesy whatsoever. I gotta go to work.
He's trying.
Yeah, and then sometimes he gets out and he like adjusts his glasses and like looks, and then realizes it's like crappy parking, but then he kind of looks around to see if he got caught for parking like crap, and then he's like, and then he just goes in. And I'm
no
like,
witnesses, no shame.
And he's the same kind of guy that would open the door, hit the car, and go,
yeah, look it over real good, check his damage out, look at your car for 2 seconds, look around and walk away.
And the worst part is he is a wild card. He doesn't park in the same place every day. He parks in a different spot, and he gets there after me all the time. So I park, and then I get out back, and he's like, park next to me. I'm like, no, don't do that. So then I park out in another spot. Yeah, way back. And then he's parked back there, like 1 car away. I'm like, what are you doing?
He knows there's something going on.
He's like, well, that's a nice car. I'm going to park next to it.
You're going to start leaving earlier for work so you can park around the block and then walk to work.
He's hoping to get the insurance.
I know. I'm like, this is terrible. So I would do a private toilet normally. I think we answered this once before and I said private toilet, but now I've changed it. I definitely would want a private parking. Okay, that's my answer. I'm done.
Yeah, no more.
It's still a private toilet.
Having your own personal hot secretary just sounds so creepy, so perverted. Like, oh, that's what you.
There was a movie about
yours
that.
To own.
She wasn't
how
very
does
hot.
that? How does that work? That's just no.
It's your own private.
No matter how you twist that or think about it, it's just wrong on all levels. So that one's probably not even part of the equation for me. I've definitely gone to bed with the fact that I don't have a pretty truck anymore. I made sure of that a couple weeks ago, and on top of that, I can't go to a Walmart anymore, where I take the advice of a lot of other truck owners who like to park out in the back 40 and then walk in because, generally people leave you alone for that. No. People know now, and there's a lot of jerks out there, so they make it a point, like your strip mall buddy there, who want to go park right next to you. And of course they do that, and then they leave later, and I walk up to my truck and I see a new ding on my door. I see a new ding in the bumper. I see a new ding on the quarter panels, wherever. People almost have my truck has somehow become a target for that kind of stuff. So I've just kind of gone like, all right, fine. You know what? It's going to be a beater now. So I think I'm sticking with the private toilet. I'm not exactly a shy pooper by any means, but it's just so much more comfortable having your own
shy pooper.
And it's mostly because of my slight germophobic nature.
So a couple of things. First, Zevius says, Warrior doesn't need the toilet anymore since he doesn't play Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. Nothing to hide now. Nothing to hide. Bassright says, private yoilet, but he then corrected himself, toilet.
I never had a yoilet.
We knew what you meant. And then Frank Brown hasn't been on in like a minute, and he's all, man, I haven't joined one of these in a hot minute.
Yes.
But he says, look at all that audio gear. No more screeching. Yes. It's been like, what?
That's why you left, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's been like, what, 3 months? Or
yeah, it's been a while since we've had my cheap lapel mics here.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
And those pieces of garbage have died out completely now, unfortunately.
Don't get me wrong.
That was $240 wasted.
Don't get me wrong. I appreciated
Oh yeah, I appreciate
you bringing them over and attempting to help with my audio.
Yeah, I get that. I appreciate them for the quality that they had initially.
We went with a board, a sound board, a mixing board. We went with professional podcast mics, and then of course my old school.
We just need to get professional podcasters now.
Yeah, I know. We just need to replace ourselves with some real personality or some real talent, and then we'd be good.
Maybe if it wasn't so early in the morning.
You like that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's sour. That one didn't land too well, but yep. No, Frank, it's much better. Oh, my brother,
like
he
a
just
ring.
joined.
Oh no, run
and
away.
he says he finally deleted the game yesterday.
Woo! Good on you, Andrew.
Fight the power.
Fight the power that lives. Oh, fight the power. Wow, that's actually a huge step for you. You went. So my brother, his journey was free to play for life, and then
Don't stop believing.
and
man.
then Scion came out. Darth Scion came out, and he was like,
remember this.
Should I whale? And I was like, if you do, it'll be your ascension into whaledom. But you'll always be in like the shard chat, and you'll always be like number one every day, and you'll get lots
that
of.
was back when Darth Sion was worth something.
Yeah, and so he did. He spent like whatever it was, 250 or 200
$250.
on that one character, and he became first every day. And he was like, "Wow, you were right." And so he spent a few $100, and it was good for like 6 months. $200 for 6 months. What an investment, right? But he made the same mistake I did, right? Sunken fallacy. You invest a little, and then you're like, "Woo, it's really good." And early on, it was. And so you spend a few $100 and it lasts 6 months, and you're like, this is great. So then you spend a little here, a little there on little packs because, well, it was worth it the one time.
Yeah.
And it was good
rush, little dopamine rush.
It was good for so long.
The law of diminishing highs.
Yeah. So that you find, you do little things here and there, and then you start having all this money invested over time. And then something else comes out and it's a little more. It's like, $300, but you got to keep up with the meta, right? So you're like, okay, well, that one lasted 6 months. Well, the next one's 300 and it lasts 3 months. And you're like, well, that wasn't quite as good as the last one. So you feel a little less good about your decision, but you're like, 3 months, whatever. That sucked. And then the next one is like 300 and you got to buy 3 characters. You got to have 3 characters and it lasts 3 months. And you're like, that really didn't feel good. Yeah. I'm having a hard time swallowing and breathing right now. And then the next one's like 300 and it's 5 characters and you're no longer meta relevant even after you spend it.
Sorry,
No, I mean like metaphorically, that's how you feel. And then you're like, why am I not meta relevant? I just spent $1,500 on these characters and I have all my best mods on them and I'm in the shard chat. You know what I mean? You're like, what is going on? My investments aren't what they used to be. And like, someone's using EP and beating this brand new team I just did. And they're like, oh crap. And then they're like, we're going to break an old character that works normally. So then they have to break an old character because their new characters aren't working right because you just spent $1,500 and it's not working. And then you're like totally sunken fallacy. Then you're like so deep in this financial thing in the game. You're like, I feel like I can't leave.
That's how they get you.
They do.
Well, it'd be one thing if they did that to try and make the game more fair.
Nope.
But they realized, no, if we were to do that, then people would suddenly stop spending money.
Racket.
And now the GLs are basically, for people who've been in the game, about $3,000. For newbies, $4,500. And for super vets, only about $1,500. But it depends on where you land in having played. So roughly about $3,000 a piece. That's about $6,000. And they're not the end all be all. I mean, they can still get beat.
You're having Galaxy of Heroes.
The new
questions,
Kylo
huh?
Ren is so squishy. I can't stand it. I can't believe it. I've had, just not impressed, not worth the money.
Sharpster asked, what do you think about SpaceX launching later today? I am so excited. NASA and a bunch of other astronauts are on Twitter, all over Twitter, like, all super excited, and tweeting about their excitement and their excitement's passing on to me. I'm just like, oh my gosh. Yeah. And then when they're excited, I'm excited because
this is going to be a manned launch.
These are people that have been on the moon,
Well, it's been a while since we've done a lot of stuff in space.
They're excited. So when they're excited, I get kind of excited because
we supposedly lost the technology to go to the moon again. We'd have to re-engineer the whole thing.
I would be really excited if they brought William Shatner into the, space,
SpaceX program.
Yeah, it'd be really awesome.
Just so he could sit there and like talk about it.
Just floating around being like, Captain's log, I'm 85 years old. What am I doing in space?
I can feel my wig leaving my head.
All right, so we got
already done. Nobody cares about, private secretaries anymore. I'm telling you, it's not the 1950s.
Well, because we have the appropriate morals in regards to a situation like that.
Yeah, but you're a single man. It's not like you're cheating on your wife with your private secretary like they did in the 50s.
Something about that still seems wrong to me.
By the way, Frank Brown said on his first question he had chose the private crapper. That's what he would have chose.
Yeah, private crapper.
Got a question. This is Poll the Internet. And for the record, I'll give you how the internet chose.
Yeah, I have poll too.
97% of the internet chose one of these answers. So you better choose right.
Something tells me we go along with these trends. We're going to go with the 97%.
Your man card will be revoked at the end of this card if you guess wrong. I'm just saying.
Sounds another obvious.
You can choose
answer.
whatever you want, but I'm taking your man
ones.
card if you choose this wrong.
Okay. Sorry, I was never given a man card. I earned my manliness.
Would you rather A, have to sit down and pee for the rest of your life, or B, have to go vegan?
Sit down and pee.
This one's actually difficult for me. Not that I have any lack of masculinity for sitting down to pee, but
would you rather have to?
I've gone
have
vegan
to sit
before.
to pee or have to go vegan
the rest of your life.
Yeah, that's where the caveat comes in, the rest of your life part, because I've done vegan, but I've not stuck with it.
You'd have to do this the rest of your life. You'd have to be vegan the rest of your life, or just sit down and pee the rest of your life.
I mean, it's not like
who cares if you have to sit down to pee the rest of your life?
It's no big deal.
But going vegan, you'd never get meat again.
Yeah.
Or any animal.
No chance of scurvy.
It's not just meat. It's any animal product.
Yeah, exactly.
No milk.
No eggs.
No cheese.
No cheese.
No honey.
Yeah, I couldn't do this.
Pretty much just eating dirt and nuts.
I mean, sit down and pee.
I don't know, man.
It's not that hard.
Yeah, I guess it's not that hard. I mean, because I've done it before, but as much as, and that's the funny thing too, because I think later on in your life, the older you get, the more a vegan diet would definitely help you out, because it's so hard to digest
good
meat.
To put
but
vegetables into your diet regardless.
Yeah, but I think it's more about mixing it up and staying consistent with one, but not going fully one or the other.
You're not going to die from peeing sitting down.
I guess for the rest of my life, especially as I get older, it's hit me a lot of mess to have to clean up. So I think sitting down.
No more shaking has to happen.
I mean, I wipe the toilet seat off enough as it is right now, just for regular splash. So yeah,
it really gets all
the
over
kind
the
of
walls.
geriatric going that I think I'd probably.
You might as well sit down.
Yeah, I'd have to enjoy the finer things in life. So sitting down to pee would be a good trade-off for that.
Tap.
That's hilarious. Bass Reich says sit down to pee.
Yep.
You would rather sit down to pee so you don't have to clean up the mess as the older you get.
Well, you got,
Wow.
I got to pee.
Wow.
My hands just aren't as stable as they used to be.
I got it.
And you said sit down?
Yeah.
I would sit down. I do that half the time anyway. I'm just lazy now. I'm like, all right, I'm going to sit.
Because although I like changing it up and it is good for your system and all that, it is not healthy to go full vegan all the time the rest of your life. I don't care what anybody says.
So 97% of the world says we are right, and 3% of you are lying to yourselves.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Well, those 3% are probably
3%
already
yourselves
vegan.
have not found yourselves yet.
Did you notice we got like nobody to comment on it? They're like, I am not messing this up. I am not messing
Not
this up.
stepping on that landmine. It's a whole lot of
Unless
nope,
you're
nope,
already
nope.
vegan, I guess.
Frank Brown says, the older you get, the lower your you-know-what go, and wouldn't they be in the water?
Just dripping.
I already have that problem now.
Just lower the water level.
Splish, splash, I was taking a bath. Da, 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 while I was.
Wouldn't that just automatically turn turtle because it's so cold of the water?
Oh, it's a
boom.
sensation. That's for sure.
Yeah,
it's
like,
most of the
I have
most of the
3% of my audience is female. They are currently sitting here going like this.
like slapping their foreheads. Hey, face palm.
What is wrong with those?
I mean, as cold as it is, my first shock is always sanitize.
What if you go into like a trough or the urinal and you had to sit down instead of the actual toilets?
Well, you wouldn't be allowed to use the urinal anymore.
I have to pee.
Oh, that would be
it's a
horrible.
urinal.
I'll have to sit inside of like the stand-up thing.
Unless you want to go full kingpin with it. Yeah, that's just
wrong, dude.
Yeah.
That's so wrong. That is
I
disgusting.
mean, that would be a lot harder to do.
You're like,
yeah. I mean, it's a smear fest. I just no. No.
If he was taking a dump, that's different.
I'm sorry.
disgusting.
This is my fault. I started the whole show off on this note.
yeah, you did.
I take full responsibility. Yeah. Oh my!
All right,
then.
you're up.
So, sight unseen. These cards were handed to me, and I wanted to go with that. So we'll see what we got here.
All right.
You'll all be as shocked as I will. I'll try to censor as much as I can if I need to. Answer the internet. Would you take $1 million to be one of the picket people for Westboro Baptist Church?
Oh man.
Ouch.
Ouch.
during a fallen soldier's funeral?
Oh, I can't do that.
No, this is a good memorial.
That's
day.
a straightforward question. That's not even a would you rather. That's an easy one.
No.
Look at this. There's a sign. There's a guy. This picture of a guy with a sign saying "God hates you."
That's terrible, dude. So would you take $1 million to do that? The answer is no. Dude. I don't care about money. So.
No. I have my pride. I have my shame.
No.
I don't hate that church because I love all people equally. But the problem is when you're a horrible person, it makes you harder to love. And Westboro Baptist is full of horrible people.
What if?
Yeah.
Okay, this is a what if scenario. I'm not saying it's hypothetical.
A whole church that should not tell people they're Christians. Yeah, right.
Okay,
yeah,
but
right.
it's $1 million. They'll still give it to you. But what if you can dress in character?
Now listen.
Of sort.
Listen.
Wear
Linda.
a wig or something.
Linda.
No.
Linda.
Fake nose.
Just listen. You would be picketing
I get
an
why
honorable
it would hurt
person
you emotionally
for a selfish gain of money, which means
I was being hypothetical.
It would be for the love of money.
I was being hypothetical.
Love of money or publicity.
For the love of money. No. Your root,
Ultimately, is money.
yeah, the root of doing this would be for the love of money.
Well, I was just throwing it out there for other people.
For the love of money.
In case they really wanted the money.
I couldn't.
And they want to justify it.
I couldn't do it regardless, but you would be doing it for the love of money. And I just, I don't have
that none of that money would bring you joy, happiness, peace, anything.
Sure. I'm not saying I would.
As a soldier,
stability.
I would come and I would haunt
I just played
whoever was there.
in a situation like
if
this.
I was being picketed.
I was just playing devil's advocate. Makes sense?
Yeah. See, that's the problem when people play devil's advocate. There's always a little bit of truth. There's always a little bit of letting out too much honesty when they play devil's advocate.
It's because of my artistic background.
They don't want to be moral.
It's my artistic background. I always have to play devil's advocate.
You're going to take the $1 million. We got it. No,
I don't give a rat's.
He's over there with a wig on.
I was just curious
$1 million,
if that would change anybody's perspective if you were completely.
No, the only one that responded to that one's Frank Brown. He said, "Hell no, he would not."
So basically, you're going out the logic that if nobody knew it was you, if you could hide your identity, you would do it.
I'm not saying I would do it. I'm saying, would you do it if that was the case? That's all I asked.
Posing a
hypothetical question.
Posing a what if scenario to somebody who's taken the high ground.
Right, exactly. Would it change your perspective?
Got the high ground.
I think anybody can take a moral high ground when it's easy sitting here behind,
sure,
in my normal everyday life to make a decision like that. But if you were presented with the money right now in front of you
and a wig,
or if you were,
Xavier says you're an artist. That's the only money you'd ever make.
This is true. You act like that's a problem for me. I've been a poor artist my whole life.
He's got to die first before his art's worth any money.
Like, this is gonna be worth money to him, not to me.
Yeah, this will be worth literally probably like once he dies, my kids will be able to sell this for like $10,000. Because it's literally a one of a kind.
Yeah, it really is.
It's literally
original.
A one of a kind. Original.
You just can't get one-arm wampas like this anymore.
We will be so rich in this household once you die, buddy.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a good time.
Thanks for all of your hard work.
I'm glad that my death is coming to something.
We're planning it. We need to stock up on his artwork as much as possible. You and Jared, and then you guys can die, and my kids will be famous. No, I'm just kidding.
Read your brother.
Read him.
That was Frank Brown, not my brother.
No, but read your brother.
Andrew says, if you could only explain the situation later and donate the money to his family. Oh, wow. That is an interesting concept. Wow.
Good thought.
Boom.
Well, see, hypothetical, but
you know what?
He's thinking on another level.
He's thinking on a whole nother level. I would totally self-sacrifice, totally picket it, get the money, and then go privately to the family and give them the $1 million. That would be
I was presented an awkward situation until I realized, I can flip the script on him.
Yeah. Well done.
That's
Andrew.
Amazing.
Well done.
That's amazing.
Number one answer.
That's an amazing answer. Number one answer. You
that's
win.
Like that's like turning blood money into good money.
Robin Hood. Yep. Robin Hood.
Yep. Andrew, you are Robin Hood. Wow. I am proud to call you my brother in real life. That's amazing.
It might be sickening to
I am proud to call you his brother.
I do wonder, how much is Westboro Baptist worth?
$20. No.
Frank Brown says, it's the zombie apocalypse. Would you rather have an unlimited ammo, single shot shotgun, or a forever sharp katana?
Katana.
Yeah, katana.
Yeah, because unfortunately, when you get to a situation like that, it's melee weapons for zombies and guns for humans.
Yeah.
Yeah, Andrew had the best answer. That would be the only way I would do that. But you know what? That was an amazing justification for doing it.
Oh, yeah, that was a good spin.
Yeah, that's
Well done,
an
sir.
amazing spin. Okay, I think it's
then you could also still dress up and pretend that you're somebody else. That way you kind of save face, and then you gave the money
because it doesn't say
to
you
family.
can't
Yeah, it doesn't say you
dress
can't.
up.
Yeah.
So
you just got to take the money.
most of them do,
pick it.
hats and
Right,
eyeglasses. And,
Yeah, and then I would show up with a sign that just says, God is sad by bad people.
Yeah.
or something like that.
You just have to be there.
it's like oddly auspicious. Like
Yeah, just a stupid
I'm
sign,
very neutral here.
Or you get like a sign that says like real estate selling this house.
God hates sin.
Call this number for this real estate agent.
Yeah, right.
I was out there. I was picketing, man. I swear.
that's
Anyway,
hilarious.
I got to poll the internet myself as well.
All right,
This is
Pull
almost a
up the
50.
internet's heartstrings.
This is almost a 50-50.
Oh, this will be a tough one then.
Yeah. Would you rather
Okay,
A, win a World Cup in a soccer crazy country like
Brazil.
mostly South American country.
Brazil. I would totally.
Or
that'd be
B, win a U.S. sports title. So soccer title.
awesome. Soccer title in Brazil.
Boom. Brazil.
Brazil.
U.S. sports title. I guess
Sao
that would
Paulo,
mean more to
Brazil.
me as far as fame and fandom and.
Yeah.
And let's think of it this way too. I mean, there's probably is a lot of money in soccer, but how many of these guys are getting endorsement deals? How many soccer players are like super rich and
Or Mexico.
famous? You know, I mean,
Or Mexico.
I can only name maybe
Brazil
a
or
handful
Mexico?
of soccer players that like entire life history of the game. I can only name a handful.
yeah.
But when it comes to like football, American football,
I think I
and
might know
baseball,
Beckham and Pele.
basketball. Yeah, Beckham and Pele are two of them. Yep.
Yep.
Yep, for sure.
That's how little of a soccer fan I am.
Yeah. I used to know more, but I can't remember their names. I remember their faces. I'm like, that guy's a soccer player. If I
Sorry
look
for
at
all of our UK friends, football.
Jared says, I was there in 2014 for that unfortunate World Cup. Frank Brown says, soccer 100%.
him. Man, I got a lot of soccer
I don't care
fans.
about sports. That's why I would selflessly give it to a foreign country that I love, like
I wish I had-
Mexico
I
or
mediocrely
Brazil.
care about sports, but I just really, really don't care about soccer. I just cannot. It's not entertaining in any shape or facet for me. Only other than the fact of seeing how many times these guys take a dive and just like, I mean, I've seen some soap opera acting before, but these guys need to be soap opera actors. I've never seen something over dramatized in my life.
You haven't watched LeBron James. Oh, snap.
Oh, I've seen LeBron James too. Yeah, I watched a whole compilation the other
basketball-
day. Just cracked me up, and I'm like, I've always known it. I've just never seen it that ridiculously.
Wow, somebody
Yeah.
touched me.
Frank Brown does make a good point.
It's like he's
World
being
Cup
possessed.
only happens every 4 years.
Oh, yeah.
American
Oh,
sports
really?
are every year.
Yeah.
I did not know the World Cup was only every 4 years.
The more you know.
Yeah.
See, that's probably part of the reason why I don't.
Hey, rightfully ignorant, I think is the word I've used for that. Yeah.
Oh.
It is the World Cup, even though nobody cares in America. It's the World Cup.
Yeah, everybody cares everywhere about America. That's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Although there are a lot of Americans that do care about soccer.
There is.
Yeah, I've
It
seen
is
a few.
growing in America for sure.
Yeah. And guess what? I don't think I've ever met one that wasn't an immigrant.
Oh,
No,
all
no,
immigrants.
that's
illegal,
not true at
illegal
all.
or legal.
we're all
No,
immigrants.
that's not true at all. That's not true at all. I have so many people that I know that,
But
that
we're all
love
immigrants.
soccer.
How many Native Americans?
That's
do you
right.
know
I'm a
playing
Nord.
Soccer.
I am a Nord. So back off.
How many?
Or I will
Not
take
every
my
Native
axe.
Americans play soccer. They play polo.
I'm naturalized.
Or
I
not
was born
polo,
here.
but field hockey.
Don't pull that.
Right? And no, not, what is it? It's not polo.
No, I am a Viking. I came from
field hockey.
Norway. I am literally born in Norway.
Lacrosse.
I was born in
That's
Temple,
what it
Texas.
is.
I was born.
I'm an American.
I was born
I'm not an
400.
immigrant.
I was born 400 years ago.
Yeah.
I am reborn.
Well, I'm just gonna say American football Super Bowl because it's been so stinking long for me.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
okay, here we go. 62.
Well, it says you. Would you rather win? Doesn't say anything about your team.
Yeah, but still, you could probably pick the team that you're gonna win. If you're gonna win one, you might as well win with the team you want.
I was playing devil's advocate for the Glory Hounds out there, I guess.
But I
You know,
mean, with
it's
World
more
Cup-
televised and more important and
with
more
World
interesting
Cup,
and
I
more
don't have
cool to watch.
I don't
you
have
know?
a team. It's like I wouldn't really care. That's the problem. I don't have a. Oh, I want to be a part of something. Sure, I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah,
Something shy of.
yeah. I don't know. I don't really care. I'm not part of any of that stuff. So, I mean, I guess I'd play for Italy, maybe, because Italian background. They don't really win too many World Cups. I wouldn't want to play for Brazil because they win them all the time.
Oh, what? Just to give some team a pity World Cup?
So just
No, I'm good.
give them the World Cup. I'm just saying that'd be the only reason to do it, just to give a team that doesn't get it that often, like
I
America.
don't know. Ask Leonardo
like
DiCaprio
America
how
never
much that
gets it.
sympathy Oscar feels good.
Oh, he should have got it for What's Eating Gilbert Grape. I thought the man was mentally challenged. I did for the longest time
Yeah, that's
until
the
I
problem. You
realized he was a
never
heartthrob, and I'm like, wait, he's not mentally challenged?
Artisan, you never go full retard.
Yeah, but he did. He totally did, and it worked. Yeah. 62% of bar stool readers choose B. U.S., baby.
Ho, 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 ha ha.
Well, that
what I say
is a U.S. audience. So.
Oh, it's a U.S. game. Look it up. Let's see if it's U.S.
That's pretty amazing. That
Made in, where the, they don't have a made.
Sorry, there's advantages and disadvantages coming with being not only the best country in the world, but also the world's superpower.
It's not where it's made, it's where they were pulled.
With great power comes great responsibility
Barstool
not to be a
readers
stupid
are
American.
in America.
Hey, you don't think there's pubs in other countries?
Oh, there absolutely are.
Pubs
Many of which that I would like to visit over having a team
Why
win
would
a
you
World
bring
Cup.
up the World Cup then? Huh? Why even bring it up?
Why even bring it up? Okay.
It's just America.
Mine is pull the interwebs.
And why was it 62%? They should have been like 85%.
All right.
Should have been.
My next question is a hangover worse on a Saturday or a Sunday?
Sunday.
And why?
Well, there's a couple of reasons for Sunday. Especially if you go to church and you're hungover. That wouldn't be a lot of fun. And it's you spend your last day of your weekend before you have to go back to work feeling like crap. I really wouldn't want to do that. I'd rather spend my Saturday feeling like a little bit of crap, try to work out of it, and then spend my whole Sunday being sober and enjoying myself.
Spend your whole Sunday still getting over it because our hangovers last longer than one day now. We're in our 30s, dude.
Depending how old you get.
Okay.
It's true.
Those are two legitimate reasons. Got it.
For half of your reasoning, yes, I'm absolutely on board with that. But for that time of my life where Sunday meant that Monday was the dredging, horrible idea of going back to work for a full week. So having my Monday start off bad enough as it is, having to actually go back to that place, thinking of numerous different jobs that were just absolutely hell for me, that I just wondered why I stuck with these places for so many years, and horrible owners too. Sunday would definitely be by far and wide the worst day to have to tackle a hangover. But even in general now, I still kind of keep my work week similar, try to get back to work on Monday, so that would still be pretty bad for me. And as much as I could totally take the time off and all that, I don't do hangovers anymore.
Yeah, so Bass right.
You have snuck up on me, but if I have a choice in the matter, I don't do hangovers anymore.
Well, just don't go.
That's right. Says Sunday. Trevor Albert says Sunday's the worst because Monday is his work day. Yeah. Frank Brown, of course, says hangovers suck no matter what day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So his solution is just
I'll
stay
tell you.
drunk.
Hangovers suck on every day ending
sober.
in Y.
Yeah. Only those days. Though.
Only the days ending in Y.
Yeah.
Yep. So I would say a hangover is worse on Saturday. And this is why.
You have a weird
Sunday for
I'm
me.
intrigued.
Sunday for me is a day of rest.
Yep.
Even if we're going to church and stuff, it's a day of rest traditionally. Even if we go to church, I get a nap, we have dinner, maybe some family time in the evening, but there's nothing really to accomplish. So if I am going to have a skoshi hangover, I'd rather it be on a day where I have nothing to accomplish. Saturdays,
I like
I've got honeydews, disc golf, hanging out with friends, maybe going to a barbecue or building a fence or whatever. I do not want to feel like crap. It's going to ruin barbecues or disc golf or building a fence or other honeydews or any other like out in the sun activity. So Saturdays are like a productivity day. Now, with that said, Saturdays for me personally are work. Sundays for me personally are work. So right now, if I'm with you guys and I'm working, I just did a theoretical for you guys, but for me, realistically, I work Saturday, I work Sunday. If I'm hanging out with you guys, the schedule is the same. It doesn't really matter. So I did my theoretical based on if I had a cool schedule, like everybody else has cool schedules.
Right.
But I work the same hours.
You work retail and you work odd retail. So
yeah. So I work the exact same hours on Saturday and Sunday. It makes no difference. So if I was to drink on Friday night or on Saturday night, my day would be the exact same and I'd probably regret it either day equally. But if I had my Saturdays open and my Sundays open, I would actually prefer have the hangover on Sunday than my Saturday, because I'd rather have my Saturday be more productive and not feel like crap in the sun. And
celebrate.
And Sunday, I'd probably go to church and then take a nap and then have dinner and then maybe do a game night or something. It'd be
still just blows my mind how retail can't grasp the concept that as long as you staff your store correctly, there's absolutely no reason why people should not get set days off. I just don't understand why people can never grasp that concept and always want to have a roving day off. Yeah, certain businesses might be closed on a day specifically, so everybody gets that day off automatically. Like when I was working for Jiffy Lube, it was always you get your Sundays. You get your Sundays. Yeah, I'm at one day a week, but as a manager, obviously crap rolls downhill both ways to me. I'm in a nice wedge point there, so my roving day off was always up for grabs for whatever person wanted to call off that day.
Yeah. So for us, the reason is we have to be available when people are available, and most people work the Monday through Friday 8 to 5 type thing. So we need to be available evenings and weekends. As the leader, we are expected to set the example and lead by example. And so if I'm going to ask people to work nights and weekends, I should be willing to work nights and weekends myself.
Oh, true.
And if I'm going to be there and have a team that's going to successfully do what they need to do, how am I to know what they're doing if I'm not there present, being able to coach them through things, teach them, cultivate them, and all of that? And I can't see what they're doing if they're there on nights and weekends and I'm not.
I'm talking in general. I'm talking like when I was making the schedule and trying to be not only the person who led by example, but also wanted to try and give people an environment that they want to work in.
Insanity.
I would try and schedule them regular days off.
So let's see. Trevor Albert says Monday's the work day, and it's Albert's, by the way. Do not leave out the S.
Ooh, dang.
Which is funny. I have to make the distinction to people all the time. My last name is Daniel, not Daniels. I don't know why people feel the need to add an S all the time.
And Frank Brown says hangovers last 2 days anyway at his age, so there's no winning. All right, you're up. Let's do it. Number 2.
Next question is going to surprise me as much as it surprises you. I already like the pictures. Answer the internet again. Who would win in a fight in their prime? Wait, maybe we'd ask this one. Nope, I probably just read it.
No.
Michael Keaton or John Bon Jovi?
Michael Keaton. Just because I don't like John Bon Jovi.
Yeah, I'd say Michael Keaton simply because he had
Batman.
to train. Yeah, he had to train to be the Batman, which means he worked with stuntmen and he had to be in shape.
They're both
and
performance artists. So, I mean, it's not as if they were like, rough, gruff, tumble men to begin with.
About the same body type, I suppose, too. At least in their prime. And they're about the same age, probably, too.
And they both had to work with props.
Yeah. But no, definitely in their prime, Michael Keaton just seems like more of a fighter than
He's just living on a prayer anyway. So.
Bon Jovi seems like one of those guys that he acts tough, but as soon as you hit him just right, he start crying.
Yeah,
exactly. I don't know if he acts tough, honestly.
I could never take a guy seriously who makes it a point to sing like my grandma. Yeah. I don't get it.
Man, you don't sound like him at all. Frank Brown says John Bon Jovi. He'd probably just kick him in the nuts. That's right, says Keaton. And don't forget the drugs that John Bon Jovi was on at the time.
I mean, we're always assuming these are like street rules, right? I mean, mostly. Like you can cheap shot, you can nut shot, you can,
Zevius says
pull hair,
Keaton,
gouge eyes.
He is the Batman in Beetlejuice. Trevor Alberts says Keaton all the way.
Michael Keaton will always be my Beetlejuice.
That's right, said Keaton. CNL Blast says not even close. Keaton all the way. Phil McCracken says Keaton is crazy. He's nuts. So yeah, he wins.
Yep.
And then Trevor Alberts is
he's a much better character actor. That's for sure.
That's very true. They're both actors now, technically.
Yeah, I know.
No. We can't discount John Bon Jovi's best movie.
Joby.
I would prefer
Joby.
I prefer John Bowie.
Joby.
John Bowie.
Shinobi.
Yes.
Al Pachobi.
Bon John Hovey.
Frank Brown, yes, we were just talking about that in our intro about whether Mike Tyson's comeback was going to be
late to the party.
A good thing or nothing. Yeah. We were just talking about that. Yeah, earlier.
Already covering that. Yeah.
Yeah. And we were talking about whether
I think Mike Tyson
would
beat Michael Keaton.
But no, I did want to get back to. I mean, we have to note Bon Jovi's best performance ever, and that was getting smacked by a bulkhead in U571, just knocked clean off the top of the sub, just killed instantly.
I laughed so hard at that.
Your first thought in that movie is, what the heck is Bon Jovi doing here? I mean, like, McConaughey already kind of weird role for him or whatever. Like, I don't see it whatsoever. But wait, Bon Jovi? Oh, that's to make me swallow the idea of McConaughey better, I guess. Okay.
I don't know, it was pretty entertaining. Made me laugh hysterically.
I couldn't help but laugh horribly when that happened. It was
We'll
great.
talk
Even
about
in the theater.
that when we do our Memorial Day / 4th of July type patriotism movie list when we have our YouTube video for that.
Frank Brown says, would you take $1 million to allow Mike Tyson right now to bare knuckle punch you?
Yes.
What? No, you die.
You die.
No.
He's in better shape.
If Steve-O can take a punch from him, I can take a punch.
Well, when did
bare knuckle?
When did Steve-O
It was bare knuckle.
When did Steve-O take a punch? Was he fat?
Steve-O on a Comedy Central roast had Mike Tyson put his fist out and he ran into it. And then he said, well, that wasn't the full effect. So backstage later, he asked Tyson to punch him, actually. And he did.
But that was when he was still kind of pudgy, right? Mike wasn't in the greatest shape at that point.
And you know that Mike pulled his punch because he wasn't going to like do full force.
Do you think he'd do full force on me?
For $1 million bucks?
Somebody doesn't even know. He's like, man, I'm not even going to do it that way.
Steve-O's already got
If he
brain
knows
damage.
$1 million is on the line, he's going to try and knock your
Steve-O's
jaw
got brain
off.
damage. He's not really worried about it.
He'd probably accidentally kill you if he knew it was $1 million was on the line. I wouldn't test that theory.
I've taken plenty of bare knuckle punches in my day.
This is a 55%. All right, 55%. This is gonna be a difficult one.
I will take care of you with your money at the retirement community that you're out.
I'll take care of him.
Invest it well for me.
I'll take care of the money that you get picketing.
Yeah.
I'll spoon in that food into your mouth.
It's one punch. Yeah, it's bare knuckle.
He's one punch man. Okay, so this is 55%.
Only takes one.
55%. This is an easy, but it's not apparently for some people. What's better, boneless wings or regular wings?
Oh man. So, okay.
Apparently they felt the same way about that.
My answer and purist answer. My answer, boneless, because I'm lazy and I just want to go no, and just eat. Right.
Wait a second.
It's all my fingers.
So I like the boneless, and I hate having
use a fork.
to fiddle faddle with cartilage and bone and all that crap because I'm lazy. So there you go. But
lazy.
As a truest purist mentality, you can't go into like if you go into a restaurant and you order wings and they come out boneless, you're like.
They're like
excuse
chicken
me.
nuggets.
Go back and give me real wings. Those aren't wings.
If I wore gloves when I ate them,
massive meat. I don't know what that
I
is.
prefer wearing like the surgical gloves.
There's something about stripping meat off of a bone that makes you feel like a man. Like,
well, and it's actually proven the bone holds more flavor and then instills that
marrow
chicken better. Yeah. So I would definitely got to be bone-in wings. Otherwise, it's not really wings. It's just chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
Yep.
Regular.
And I'm sorry,
Ziva
but I
says,
completely brain farted. Was the $1 million to get punched by Mike Tyson a hypothetical, or is that the question you just asked?
Oh,
two
no.
questions?
No. That was just on here.
Oh, okay.
You got to remember
that was Frank Brown.
Yeah, sorry. I am completely paused for a second.
Yeah, that's right. Zevia says regular. Trevor Alberts says regular. And I said Alberts with an S.
Alberts.
Frank Brown, we are talking flats or legs.
I don't think it really matters.
Doesn't matter.
As long as it's got bones.
As long as it's got bones.
Oh, yeah. I mean, personally, I'm a drumstick guy myself, legs or whatever. But when it comes to either or of the chicken nuggets and or chicken wings, then definitely wings.
Wings, yeah.
If I'm in the mood for just gnawing on some chicken or whatever, then I'll get some chicken nuggets. But if I want to sit and actually savor every little morsel that I get off the bones from doing wings at like Buffalo Wild Wings or whatever, then you got actual
those two bones in the
chicken
flats,
wings.
Trevor Albert says SureShot said it right. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Albert. So. But no, it's like you have the flats, you got the two bones, and you like to work my way through it so I can get in like one big done, boom. It's a lot of fun. The wings, you're just done.
Yeah, I've never thought of eating as a contest before, but man, if we wanted to have a speed eating contest, Artisan over here would definitely win hands down.
I have no shame.
Yeah,
I have. No
However,
ability
whenever
to slow
I'm
down.
eating with the bone in, I'm kind of morbid. I'm always like eating with the bone in. I'm like eating them, and I'm like thinking like, how small do these chicken have to be when they're murdered to be these tiny ass wings? Like these are tiny wings. Like that bird could not have been more than like 4 months old, man.
Yeah.
Like they killed this thing at 4 months old for my sake.
So are we all picking regular? Is that what's happening here?
Yeah, that's everybody.
Well, because you said the question is boneless or regular.
Boneless or regular wings.
Yeah, obviously regular.
55% chose regular.
Yeah.
55 though. I was really surprised by that.
45% are obviously confused.
Or they dislike chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
Or chicken nuggies. Chicken nuggies.
Oh my gosh.
What is that?
Baby Yoda, cutest thing to ever happen. Most horrible thing to happen to fair-weather Star Wars fans ever.
Sad. But I can't wait for season 2.
I'm sorry. I'm speaking mostly to the women here because, well,
All
who do
three
you
of you.
think they were pandering to with that one?
I'm telling you though, season 2.
Oh, yeah. Looking forward to it.
It's going to be a good season.
Looking forward.
Yeah. Fire.
All right, man.
Still
this
uneasy about Ahsoka
Little
Tano's
baby
casting.
birds. Yes, Trevor Alberts.
Yummy.
Little baby birds. Exactly.
Yummy.
That's where my brain goes to. I'm just like, little tiny birds, little tiny. Wait, what am I doing?
They're all Cornish hens. They're all the little guys.
They're all
Little
Cornish
baby.
passies.
And they're babies at that. They're like, baby Cornish hens. And they're like little like waddling like, hey, where are we going?
Thank you for being on this earth solely for my
follow us. It's like little mini Nazi Germany in like South Dakota though. You know,
the leader of that
there's like 14 million little chickens going into this little room.
Well, see, the only problem that
every
people have
day.
with that is for some reason they try to attach souls to animals and act like it's wrong to.
Oh, I don't think it's
animals,
wrong. I love
the Nazi leader of that
eating.
of those chicks has got to be the one from Hop, right? That little fat chick. It's got to be the leader. Come on with me.
Go in there, please. Okay, goodbye. Goes back, gets another load.
I'm telling you, he's selling his soul.
Oh man, this is going to be a tough one.
Hop.
This is a pretty divided one, and you'll have to explain yourself because this is going to be tough.
I don't want to.
I don't know. This would be hard, and I think I have my answer figured out, but this one's tough.
Is it polled?
It's a poll.
I'm
yeah.
ready. Let's do this.
Yeah,
Lock and load.
this. Okay, so your girl,
Nope.
whether
that's
it's your
already
wife, your
out.
girlfriend, whatever, your girl, she's going to be able to either
Your girl, not your a girl.
I was gonna say, well, when I was a little girl, I didn't like questions. like
your
that.
girlfriend, your wife, whatever. She's going to be able to hear everything
Everything.
when you're not around, or she's going to everything you're doing. And just basically she can hear everything in your life when you're not when she's not around you.
Okay.
Or she's going to be able to see everything going on when she's not around you. Do you want her to have that window into your soul like when you two are not together by seeing everything
Or hearing.
or by hearing everything when you guys aren't together? She'll
Seeing.
either see it all or she'll hear
I'd
it all.
much rather she saw everything.
They could
because
both be misconstrued,
I can
though.
when she sees things, whatever. It's completely like it's always on the up and up. That doesn't seem to be something I have to worry about.
But she's gonna wonder about what
it's
you're
me
saying.
slipping up and saying things that I didn't mean, or I didn't say it that way, or you shouldn't have taken it that way. That would constantly be misconstrued, and that would be an instant argument all the time.
Here's the thing: they're both can be misconstrued.
Of course, the other problem is too
to a girl and
I would
not
say
hear what
any
you're saying.
interaction with another woman would
Exactly.
suddenly be a suspect because you couldn't hear what was actually being said.
This is a really tough question because both ways can be misconstrued.
Yeah,
As
but you can go silence.
Oh, but no, yeah, I could say the listening in part would get me in trouble more
You could
than the
mute
seeing
stuff.
part for sure.
You could mute TVs, you could mute conversations, you could mute your phone, you could mute things going on in your life. So there would be the absence
You
of
could
that.
go to straight lip reading and sign
You
language.
could use texting if you were with somebody.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I mean, you know what I mean? You could have private conversations.
and I mean,
but
the idea here is she can
she
see
saw
everything,
stuff,
but like
she wouldn't know context ever, but she
Yeah.
would see stuff and be like, what is he
that's
doing?
another problem though. I mean, we could pick this apart even further. What camera angle does she have?
Everything.
Can she see everything? Will
Yep.
it switch to whatever she feels like right now? Because at that point, then
She'd
too.
be spinning it 360 like
Exactly. Then suddenly you're texting somebody. Then she's looking at your phone. Who you texting? What are you texting?
yeah,
Frank Brown says, this is a trick question. Wives already know everything. That is
Well-
true, my friend. That is true.
And it's what's more dangerous is they think they know everything. And
Yeah.
society has told them this lie for so long, so many generations.
Phil McCracken.
Therein lies
Here.
some of the privilege. Oops.
No one should have to see me all the time.
yeah. We wanted to get sick of that,
She's like, ooh.
but I have.
Yeah, I mean, we automatically assume this is like a gun to your head situation. You have no choice in the matter.
Yeah.
But, nobody ever thinks about the fact that, okay, fine, that's cool. I get that. But one option you didn't think of, I can leave her.
Ooh, what? Why would you do that?
So would you rather have your girl, wife or girlfriend be able to see you or hear everything you do when she's not around? Got to pick one. Hear or see. It's hypothetical. Just go with it.
Yeah, I'm still going to say that her hearing everything would still get me in more trouble than her seeing everything.
Okay.
I would say her seeing me would get me.
You'd be doing a lot of explaining. That's
Yeah.
all I can say.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think I'm in the same boat. Like she would see me and be like, "Well, he's not really doing
Still
anything."
give me plausible deniability.
Because I don't really do anything.
That is
And it
true.
would keep me probably more. It would keep me more honest, knowing that she's seeing me too. You know,
You don't know.
it would keep me from being like, "Oh crap," because I could work my way, finagle my way around her hearing me, but seeing me, I couldn't finagle.
Yeah, I forget that I'm being listened to all the time by Google on my phone. I never forget the fact that there's a camera around all the
Somebody's
time.
watching me. Yeah, I have no privacy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Until she starts to work for Google. And then she gets both.
Yeah.
She's like, I can now hear you.
In which case, this is just another glaring red flag of get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
She's got those kind of trust issues. You don't need to be anywhere near that.
Yep. So 58% of the interwebs said they would rather her hear
Oh.
everything versus see everything. Boy, those
I get it from both sides. I do.
Yeah,
I'm
really
just
do.
saying, for me personally in my life, knowing that whatever somebody would see is generally more on
I
the
would
up and up than
rather
what they would
I would
hear.
rather
More self-explanatory.
hear and not see because I think in my age I've learned self-control in the sense of my mouth better than actions at times. So,
and hey, were I in a relationship right now, my answer might be different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
who knows?
But I would like to think that she could have access to both at all times, and I would be honoring in that. But I mean, I am human, so who knows? That's just a terrible question.
You're human?
Well, yeah, and that's the thing.
No,
I know
I'm a
I'd be
robot.
constantly getting in trouble for slip-ups, not for anything I'd actually intentionally have done.
You'd be in trouble for everything if somebody was constantly watching you. If I was watching her 24/7, I would be obsessed about whatever she was doing. It's unhealthy. It's not even normal to watch somebody and like.
Oh God, yeah.
You know what I mean? That's not even healthy. You should be focused on yourself. That's my counselor coming out of me. Like when we do marriage counseling, that's like the first red flag is like, you're paying attention to that person. You're already at fault. You know, you got to focus on yourself.
And not in the way of, pamper yourself and everything you do is right. And you need to constantly make your life better. No, it's fix yourself. It's work on yourself. It's be self-aware of your shortcomings.
Yeah. Yeah. You're broken. Your batteries need to be taken out and replaced.
And move on.
Yeah.
All right, on to me.
Yeah, Frank Brown. I am human mostly.
Yes.
It's easy to reflect your problems onto somebody else when you're spending all your time looking at them.
No, apparently when it comes to my relationship status, I am a robot incapable of love. So we're moving on to debate the internet on this side of the table.
This one's going to get heated.
And I like this one, actually. This is a good, straightforward. I think a lot of people don't think about this too well.
Audience, do you want to debate?
I think it breaches and branches out to so many different levels of entertainment. So
okay, the audience, they want to debate.
They
so
concur.
So let's debate this. How old is too old to watch cartoons?
Ooh, never. Never.
Didn't think I was going there with that, did you?
There was never an age limit to cartoon watching. Nope. I watch cartoons at least like 3 or 4 times a week still.
Yep. No, I don't watch cartoons ever anymore, but I'm not opposed to it. I just don't have a cartoon I'm currently interested in, but I wouldn't be opposed to watching cartoons right now.
I have nostalgia problems.
Are we talking kid-oriented cartoons or adult-oriented cartoons?
That's the thing. There's a lot of adult cartoons.
Cartoons? Or are we talking animation and cute computer graphics and, you know?
Yeah.
You watch cartoons right now, and your adult cartoons count.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying we could say
Moriarty or whatever the heck it's called.
I think a lot of people don't realize that, say, Rebels is not a cartoon; it's animation.
It's just still considered a cartoon these days, apparently. Yeah.
But if we're talking like actual drawn, cartoons,
Saturday morning cartoons from the 80s and the 90s.
I don't think there is a currently running show that's an actual cartoon. Is
SpongeBob?
I would loosely call all animations cartoons.
That's a really loose definition of it, though.
Yeah, because Lion King's a cartoon. I mean, the new one.
Yeah, it would be loose, and that's how I would be.
It still cracks me up they call live action. It's just like, you mean entire movie all comprised of computer graphics? Yeah, no, that's not live action.
How's that live action?
They had a live action one, real animals.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like your show that you watch, Rick and Moriarty or whatever it's called.
Rick and Morty?
Yeah, Morty. Yeah, that would be a cartoon in my eyes.
I think that's a traditionally animated show.
Well, traditional in one sense that it looks like drawings, but I think it's done on a computer.
Probably. Yeah. Wouldn't surprise me.
Most of the time.
I've never watched a documentary about it, but they talk about how insanely hard it is to even animate one whole show.
Well, they spend 90% of their time in the background characters.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really care about the main character's animation. It's
Dave
obvious.
Barker, Thundercats.
Oh, yeah, that's good stuff.
So Silverhawks, come to me.
I just found a trailer for a Chuck Norris Commandos cartoon that my brother watched, and he was actually Chuck Norris for Halloween one year. I sent him the picture or video. He was like, "Oh my gosh, I haven't seen that in years. That's totally the reason why I did Halloween." I'm like, "Yes, I don't remember that cartoon." He's like, "It probably didn't last very long.
Yeah,
long enough for a toy, though."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're never too old. I mean, I don't know. I'm not married, and I assume that if I get married, I'm gonna watch cartoons with my kids.
And I don't think that says anything about your maturity level or your mentality or anything like that. I mean, I think it just shows you as to be a more well-rounded individual. But
there's a lot
of different animation styles, and you can be entertained by things, especially when it comes to enjoying it with other kids or whatever, and whatever situation and scenario that might be.
Well, the anime is not very child-friendly half the time anyway. But
good Lord, no.
There's just a lot of cartoons, a lot of different stuff out there, as opposed to just what we had in the 80s. I still find myself watching
Japanese
G.I.
animating
Joe,
people that don't exist, that look mostly American,
so
and we over-sexualize women to a ridiculous extent and have all kinds of gratuitousness in there to boot. So, yeah, it's all pretty much, it's entertaining and great as some of them are.
I don't know.
Bassreich says there's never an age. He agrees. Frank Brown says when you're 6 feet in the grave. I agree.
Oh, okay.
Trevor Alberts says never, of course, because there's adult cartoons, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Ziva says, why are there no British bridges named Chuck Norris? Named Chuck Norris, and that's a good question. It says because no one crosses Chuck Norris and never lives.
I should have known it was a Chuck Norris joke.
I knew we were being set up. I knew it. I knew it.
I mean, did you know that Chuck Norris's tears could cure cancer?
Yep.
It's just too bad he's never cried.
Did you know that he doesn't have a chin? It's just another fist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just hidden underneath that goatee.
Because when Chuck Norris is doing push-ups, he's not pushing himself up. He's pushing the earth down.
Yeah. I had a whole book of these, by the way. Oh, yeah. I left it at a friend's house. I was very sad by this.
Yeah.
Chuck Norris died of COVID. I don't know if you guys heard that. But it was a very short-lived death, and COVID is now self-quarantined for 14 days after coming in contact with him.
Yep.
Who just read the last one?
He did.
Did?
So you are up now.
We're already almost done. That was quick.
Yeah. We got one more round, and then we have story time.
Oh, okay then.
Because last week, story time. Because last week we talked about when the law enforcement story when I did a citizen's arrest on a cop when I was a teenager.
Good times.
And then I talked about getting pulled over by a fake cop, and they all said that just recently, and they all said they didn't hear that story, and I was like blown away. I didn't tell that story because
that just one of all things
that just happened like 4 months ago.
Yeah,
and they were like, "No, we haven't heard that," and I was like, "Oh crap, I didn't tell that story," which is fine because it's a good story. So we'll talk about that. Chuck Norris and Mr. T walked into a bar and it exploded because no single building can contain that much awesomeness. That is true.
I pity the fool
that
owned that bar. All right, so this is a.
I had met Mr. T, you guys. I met him in real life. We actually did that on Story
and
Time.
guess what? They both pitied the fools.
Yeah, I met him in real life at the Rio in Vegas, and the guy was the most humble man
he seems
I've
really nice
ever
guy.
met in my life. I tried to carry his bags in because I was like so just like blown away. I was like, "Oh, let me carry your bags, please."
Starstruck.
Yeah, totally. And he was just like, "No," and he was acting like he met someone famous. When he didn't know us from Adam. Like we were back then, I was a nobody. My wife was a nobody. We were all nobodies. And we met him and we were like,
"Oh, it's so cool
we
that
were
somebody
like,
recognized me. Is this nice about it?"
Yeah,
Thanks.
we were like, Mr. D, whatever. But he was so humble. He was just like, "Oh," and he acted like we were famous people. And he was like, oh, and he was like, bowing and like grabbing our hands and like, let's get pictures. And, and he was like so genuine. And we got pictures with him and he was such a gentleman. And I was just like, wow. And we were like, let's take your bags. And he's like, you're not, no, he's like, you don't touch my bags. He's like, you're above, you're above that. No, he's like, you're above that. He's like, don't let them. He's
I don't
like,
believe in banks. That's my cash.
Yeah. He's like, the valet will
my
get
jewelry.
Yeah. The valet will get that. You guys are above that. Like, let's get some pictures and stuff. And
you go try to help him out with that, and you're like, "Whoa, are these your chains?" It's like, "Oh yeah, one of them."
Do you consider you guys part of his A team?
all right.
Is that he was driving a van?
Anyway, he was a very nice guy. I was. You meet a lot of crazy people in Vegas. I've been to Vegas a lot, and I always meet someone crazy there. So it's awesome.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah, he was probably my favorite person I've ever met there. I did meet Keanu Reeves there. Not as good a interaction.
Did he know Kung Fu?
But he was still nice. Still posed for a picture.
10 a.m. and he was drunk. So I think he was coming down from cocaine. But anyway.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't?
Right. Still a nice guy.
I did get a picture.
Still just the nicest.
I did get a picture and he was very kind. Yes, he did pose for a picture.
This is an interesting proposal.
I like Keanu.
Pole.
Nice guy.
He's kind of a one-trick pony, though, wouldn't you say?
Very cool trick.
Yeah. He likes to get revenge for people killing dogs.
Yeah, all I got to say is don't mess with his dog.
Yeah.
Nope.
So this is 86% of our stool readers said this one. No, I don't want to.
Good.
Which
talk
NFL
into the mic. Talk into the mic.
Which NFL team would win? All white players or all black players?
Whoa.
This is pretty
racy. Loaded question.
That's like a loaded question.
Wait, what's the sport?
Football.
Black.
Yeah.
Oh.
Black or white.
So I'm just gonna have to be stereotypical. This sucks.
I was gonna say if it was basketball, I mean that's a Kobe. That's a slam dunk.
86% said this one, right?
86%. See, I know what the stereotype wants me to say here, and I'm not
hold
going to
on.
go with it because I don't agree. Because it's much more diversified in football.
Actually,
these
I would
days.
say this. I'm going to change my answer to white, and this is why. Because it would be an all-star team, right?
Yeah.
And
sure.
there are some linemen. There are actually quite a few linemen and quite a few, like, think about Ed McCaffrey, wide receiver. There's some linemen that are pretty big. So you'd be able to fill the ranks. And then like 80% of the all-star quarterbacks are white. So not that that's right or wrong.
There's some really good black quarterbacks, especially.
There are
these days.
If you're one of those people who thinks that statistics are racist, well, then sorry, this question is not
honestly.
for you.
I believe that this game would be a lot.
I just think the line would be way more aggressive on the black side. I just think that this is a terrible freaking question. But I mean the wide receivers would definitely have the advantage on the black side. The line would have the advantage on the black side, but the quarterbacks,
that's a good one,
would have the advantage on the white side. And there's enough good white linemen to make a good line if it's an all-star team, and there's enough good wide receivers to make up one team. If you were making one team, there's enough good white players to make up one team.
He puts up a good question about name me 2 white cornerbacks, and I honestly cannot name 2 white cornerbacks off the top of my head.
But this isn't just like today.
But that's a passing game.
Yeah.
And you have white cornerbacks that you've never heard of before, because there's not a whole lot that are all-star, worthy cornerbacks. They're going to be susceptible on the sidelines the whole time for the deep pass, for your black wide receivers that are faster than everybody else. I'm just saying this game will probably end up being.
It's just a terrible question.
But there is white safeties that are awesome. I'll tell you that much. White safety will come by and give them one, but it'll still be like a 20-yard pass. I'm still thinking the black players are going to beat the white players 24-21.
There you go. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to say it's a tie. Because
it might go into overtime.
The universe is going to say this is an unfair game. This is stupid, and anyone going for one side or the other is dumb. I
didn't write the question, folks.
Yep.
I'm just reading it, and I just pulled these.
What was it? A poll the internet?
Yep. 86% said black.
That was my initial impression.
Yeah.
Well, I get to thankfully excuse myself from that question. Not the least of which is because no matter how you answer is racist. And yes, that is true. I don't care what you say.
That is true. No matter how you answer it.
There's white and black racists out there. It happens. It's true. It's real. It's infallible.
The game will be a lot closer than you think.
The thing is, I also can excuse myself from that question for the most of which being that I don't know that much about football. I don't know what cornerbacks are and what their position is and how they play that. So I can't answer that question logically or informed. So nope, I can't.
Cornerbacks are the guys that defend the wide receivers.
What?
The cornerbacks are the ones that defend the wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
And a wide receiver compared to a receiver is different how?
Well, there's slot receivers and there's wide receivers.
Hey, Andrew said the same thing as me. I said it would end in a tie, and he said end in a tie. How about that?
Nice.
How about that?
Okay, and then I agree with that. It'll end in a tie in regulation, and it'll have to go to overtime, which will end in a field goal. Okay, so if that was the case, it'd probably be a white team that would win.
Ooh.
Because there's a lot of white field goal kickers, not a whole lot of black field goal kickers.
Well, again, I don't understand how they can make the distinction that way because, statistically, certain players play better than others, and that's not racist. That's not favoritism. Yeah. That's not because they were given everything in life. It's nothing. It has nothing to do with just your talent.
Football is a very blended sport.
It is.
Very much so.
It really is.
Very much so. You got a lot of different
That's one
people.
reason why it's so popular, because you can be white, black, Hispanic, you can be short, tall, you can be
baseball,
you
can be a lineman
that are 5'4"
and 190 and a lineman, even though that's super rare.
Yeah.
Or you can be 330 and a lineman. Like, it's not common, but they do both ends of the spectrum. The average lineman's about 255, 260.
It's a team sport.
Do you know what I mean? But
so let's turn this one on its head. Let's put that same scenario on basketball.
Okay, that's the problem with basketball. It acts like it's a team sport, but a lot of them act like it's a player sport. And that's what
we could do the same thing for
frustrating.
hockey.
Mm-hmm.
Hockey is a primarily white sport, though.
But that's because it's,
basketball's a primarily
North
black
America,
sport. So,
North America, meaning like North states and Canada, and statistically you start to lose a specific population.
I like that they use a sport as well blended as football. I get that. That's a good choice. I'm just saying, if you want to try and really
terrible
pull
question
one out there, yeah.
So I didn't write the question.
Ultimately, it's a terrible question, but
that's true. You wrote the question. You need to go.
I like a team based on their merit, based on their talent, based on their ability, as opposed to the color of their skin.
Let's hit the eject button.
I don't know any black field goal kickers. I just know one punter.
One punter.
They wouldn't
Juan
get their extra points. And he's ejected. There you go.
Just go for 2.
Goodbye. You got to get back here. We got one last question round.
No, I can answer for you.
Nope, I can't hear you.
Where'd you go? You just disappeared out of existence. You're not on our plane. Whoa!
Frank Brown said basketball would still be closer than you think. I don't watch basketball, so I don't even have any clue how many white people play basketball.
I don't either. Yeah.
It's a lot of European white people.
That's interesting.
Yep. Antonio Brown can kick it for
Nope, I only like to excuse myself out of questions, not because of being a hot button issue, but because I don't have enough information and I don't know enough about the sport to have a informed, educated decision.
No, I like the question in a sense because it, like I said, it's a very blended sport. You know, I looked at like my favorite
racist.
I go with my favorite team, like the '85 Bears, and how they have a lot of white linemen on the offense, but they have in like the skill positions, they have a lot of black players that are really awesome. Hall of Famer Walter freaking Payton, you know. But you had a white fullback, you know. I don't know. It's just a really interestingly blended team, and especially now, you know, the sport's way more blended than it even was back in the '80s.
That's awesome. That's NFL is the epitome of blending, which is what we want. Which is great.
I mean, there's a lot more Hispanics and even Asians, I guess, even showing up in the NFL these days compared to how it was back in the '80s or '60s or '70s.
That's pretty cool. All right, pull the internet. I got all pull the internet. That's pretty cool.
It's not like baseball, though.
This is kind of a lame question. I'm sorry, the last question I got is kind of lame. Good thing I get to do story time at the end. Is it weird to put a team shirt on when you watch a game at your house?
Is it weird? No. I mean, if you own one that fits, wear it.
It's like wearing a jersey while you watch the game for your team. Like you're watching a football game, so you wear a jersey.
I can't go to Wrigley Field anymore, so yeah, I wear a Cubs hat. Yeah, exactly. I had a Cubs shirt till it wore out.
Sometimes I'd wear it without a game being on if I had one that fit me.
Mm-hmm. I would. I don't make it a priority or a point, but I would.
I don't wear like all one team colors type thing. Like I'm not gonna wear a Cubs hat with a Cubs jersey and Cubs shorts.
Is
it weird to wear nothing but your team's logos? Yes.
Yes, that's strange.
To be obsessive and to have nothing but, you know.
No, doesn't everybody kind of do that though, especially for like Super Bowls and things like that? Like everyone wears the colors when they go. I mean, that's kind of like a known
It's kind of silly because you're supporting them by watching them on TV, but they're not going to see you wearing their logo, so it doesn't matter.
You do it not for them, you do it for yourself and others around you, so you can
support them with your money. You bought the jersey.
But this is at your house.
You're not supporting the players with that money.
No. Yeah, you're at the team, though.
They're at your house. So
hey, they just supported you.
Yep.
Woo.
Look at that, Jacob.
Support.
John, hey, Warrior. I don't play Star Wars on the phone anymore, so stupid question here. What is your channel about now since you stopped? What is up, brother? Thank you very much for the donation, and you're seeing it. We are hanging out. We just socialize, have a fun time. We chat with you guys.
Call it a podcast.
Yeah, it's a podcast.
Drink, we eat, we make merry.
We make merry.
I don't know what that means.
Know what that means. We just have a good time, hang out, socialize.
We politely ask her.
We just socialize, have a good time. It's entertainment. It's just to have fun, socialize. I enjoy hanging out with whoever wants to hang out. And so that's what it is. Whoever wants to come and hang out, whether it's 25 people or 250 people.
We hope to entertain you as much as we entertain ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. And so we hang out. At some point, someday, I will decide to take these questions and break them out into littler videos, probably 3 to 8 minutes long, and put those out for people who can't stand watching an hour and a half podcast, just like Joe Rogan does, where he breaks his podcast down. My goal is to do that, but I have yet to do that because we'll
go through the work to find the funny stuff for you.
Yeah, and I wouldn't take every question, but probably some of the funnier ones, like would you do the Westboro Baptist Church thing? Andrew's question or answer is so genius. That would be a great one to put out there. Yeah. It would really hook people. They'd be like, you would? And they watch the video and then realize why it's such a selfless answer. That's a great one. So that'd be really great. But
taking a really bad question and turning it on its head.
Yep. Well done.
So Bastrick, by the way, says, no, I do it all the time. That was on the previous question with the wearing your stuff in the house on the sports stuff.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Darth Mike says superstitions for sports fans are fun. Those are kind of fun, like people wearing the same underwear or whatever.
It is a little superstitious to think that wearing that jersey is going to help them out further. So
Frank Brown says, I want to know who said yes to this question. Well, 87% said no, 13% said yeah, it's dumb. I think it's because it was in the house, because you're by yourself, and so they see it as like kind of rhetorical in nature, like who are you going to impress? Because really you wear that stuff to impress others or let others know who you're going for.
It's one thing
to
go to
your own
the bar
house
dressed like that because you're around other people. But if you're sitting there alone in your house on your couch watching the game and you're in full hat, jersey, shorts, watching the game.
Yeah. And if you don't do it that way, you think they're going to lose.
I might be tempted to walk up to you with a baseball bat from behind.
Yeah.
That's the same.
Darth Mike says some people think if they don't watch the game.
Okay.
No, not murderous. I just knock them unconscious.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Darth Mike says, some people think if they don't watch the game, it's why their team loses. That is hilarious. And then Frank Brown says, probably wives tired of their husband's crap. Jacob John donates again. Thank you very much for the donation. He asks
really
in
like
Super
this.
Chat. Yeah, he says, why did you stop playing? For me, it was the paywall. There was a bunch of reasons. I had probably...
That's one of them.
Yeah, probably about 10 reasons why. And I talk a little bit probably about it on almost every podcast. But and we even talked about it today in earlier part of the podcast. In the intro, we talked a little bit about it again. But one of the number one reasons is because they have many issues within the coding of the game. The game is constantly getting broken, and every time they release something, it breaks more. And they're not willing to like fix their own game.
Compounding their problem.
Yeah, they continue to compound a problem with another release of something, and instead of fixing the coding of the game, they just continue to release something else. And their fix, for example, IG88 has an issue right now with his payout and stuff because of the new Mandalorian and all of that. And instead of like fixing the coding, they just changed the description of IG88 to match his bug. So like he has this bug where it's not working right. And instead of fixing him, they just changed his in-game description to match the bug. Like that isn't okay. That literally just happened like within the last 2 weeks. That is so bad that you can't find the bug and fix it, that you literally just go in and change text to match a bug. That's bad. And that's just symptomatic. That is so superficially symptomatic of what is so deep rooted as an issue with the department that I couldn't continue to support that team. Now, if they had new leadership and they had kind of a new development team and they started communicating better and fixing things more, and they started to fix like the spaghetti coding, and things started, getting better, and communication got better, and the programming got better, and they started fixing bugs on a more regular basis, and that aspect got better, that would attract me to possibly coming back. And then it would have to then be the second thing would be the paywall. But then the paywall could be overcome by just going free to play and saying, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to play for fun. And then I'd have to find a guild that was okay with my, casual gameplay. But for now, it's just so aggravating to play that when I left, I wasn't having any fun, even on a casual basis, because everything was so broken and constantly being broken. And when you find yourself complaining about something, my solution to people was, if you don't like it, just leave. And like,
Simple solution.
Yeah, I just took my own advice. Like, if you're not having fun anymore, like just pack up and go. Yeah. And I wasn't going to, I'm not going to tell somebody, I'm not a hypocrite. I'm not going to tell somebody to do that if you're not going to do that yourself. And I got to a point where I tried for a year to do casual, free-to-play style, and I gave that my best shot. But after a year, I was just done with how they were running the show, to the point where the communication was so poor, and their content after 15 months was just non-existent. And I was just like, a few characters and a couple of reskins, but I was just like, nope, that's not enough for me to be engaged. And things continued to break, and their communication was poor, and they weren't, their goodwill was gone. Mm-hmm. What little bit of goodwill they had was gone. And
so many decisions no longer in good spirit or goodwill of the game.
Yeah. So it says you don't need a software developer for that fix. I know, Darth Mike, I know. Mm-hmm. But the developers, they have a long way to go. And then Zevia says, I'd take you in my guild any day, Warrior. I appreciate that. I am sure I would have a ton of offers if I decided to come out of retirement. My poor accounts are just totally mothballed. They're just sitting there doing nothing. Mm-hmm. They're not even, nobody is like going in and getting daily rewards.
Every time you walk
nothing.
by your phone or think about it for a second, it's almost like a dog looking up at you. I
don't even think about it. I don't even think about it, actually.
Wow.
Until someone asks.
Sarah McLachlan dog.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Comes out of nowhere.
Sarah McLachlan's on my phone. She's looking up at me. She's like, hey, for only $1 a day, you can play this game. It's more like, for only $30 a day.
Yeah.
You can
for
play
only
Star
$1,500
Wars.
at a time, you can get a new character.
I know.
I will remember.
So, are we on to the last one here?
Well, you're in the arms of an angel.
Yep, yours is the last, and then we go story time. Let's do it. Story time.
Well, this one went back. The last one was debate the internet. I didn't have any polls. That was unfortunate.
Yeah. No polls. Sorry.
No polls.
No smoking poll. Wait.
Sorry, Polish. So let's see here. Answer the internet. Would you rather spend the rest of your life blind or inside Olive Garden? You've already asked this one. Doggone it.
How many times do you have that same
The rest
question?
of your life blind or in Olive Garden? I thought that we did do that one. Somehow a couple of these did get reintegrated, I think. But I would...
A shuffle happened by accident.
I can't spend the rest of my life inside of Olive Garden, the whole rest of my life.
No, probably not.
There was a time when I was very young. I really, really enjoyed how much cheese they'd give you on your salad.
I like the bread.
They don't have a Caesar salad anymore.
Yeah. Well, they're changing a lot of things around that
so
they're not the
I
same.
couldn't-
And as of right now,
In
they're
principle,
not.
I'm not going to do that.
They took the common sense road and they reopened, but they're not allowing any more than 6 people at a table. So for that, they lose my business yet again.
You know what, though? Do you guys know? I probably told you because you're all friends. Do you know where the Caesar salad originated from?
Yep.
If you know, then don't
And
say
it was
anything.
because of you that I know.
Yeah. Do you know where it's from? Anybody out there in La La Land know where the Caesar salad originates from?
The delay is off. You can answer now quickly.
Yes. Here, we're throwing these away.
Fire or what do they call that? Something round.
Yeah, you guys think for a second, and then I'll tell you the real place. Don't Google it. Don't you Googly.
Yeah. First thought off the top of your head.
Thought off the top of your head, throw it. Jacob John says C.G. Carey did say in an interview she expected people to spend about $500 a month, $3,000 to $5,000 a month. It's actually what she said for a phone game. Yeah, she expected you to spend $3,000 to $5,000 to catch up,
To stay competitive.
Yeah, and then $500 a month to stay competitive. Yeah, for sure. So Zevia says, "Is it an original Greek salad?" ? Good guess. Let's see if there's any more guesses that come in. No Googling. Come on, please, you guys. No Googling. Where does the Caesar
You
salad
don't win
come
anything.
from?
This is just for the heck of it.
Yeah,
Come
it's
on
just
now.
for the heck of it. No winning. I just want to. It's a fun fact. It's really cool. And then you can.
You'll win something we've always had.
Yeah,
for
and then you can
Our
fact check me.
respect.
But I know for sure I'm right. So, but it's just really nice to kind of fun fact it. But so.
Let's get a few more. Come
Caesar
on, one more.
salad. Jacob John says, was it in England? Okay, so we've got Greece, England, Caesar salad. The Caesar salad.
We should probably say it the right way. Caesar.
One of the most popular and probably my least favorite.
And Jacob John says he's a chef. I hate to tell you,
Hey,
Jacob,
hey.
you are wrong about
Yeah,
where it did
being a
originate.
chef, I don't care about your knowledge about where it originated from. I care
bet
about
you-
how well you make it.
Yeah, I bet you make an amazing Caesar salad though, but it did not originate in England. So Greece, England. Trevor Alberts says you have mentioned this before, Warrior. I have. It has anchovies. Yes, original did have anchovies in it, Dave. Trevor Alberts says USA.
Close.
Close. And actually, he's part of the story. That is actually correct.
It's actually Antarctica.
But
Yeah. They didn't have anybody.
He's a chief, not a chef.
yeah, he's a chief.
right.
Oh,
Good Lord, Chief.
I misread that.
Oh.
And I am warrior. How?
Wow.
Trevor Alberts, there you go. USA Mexico blend, yes, because Caesar was actually a Mexican who lived in Mexico, who was opening up a restaurant. He had a restaurant in Tijuana, Mexico, which is on the border of Mexico and America, and he had a famous restaurant. This was like, I want to say in the 20s or 30s. It was really a long time ago. It was like almost 100 years ago. And he had his restaurant.
It was recent in the history of where food originated from, I guess.
Yeah. Well, there wasn't a Caesar salad before him. So, but anyway, he had this restaurant. It became very popular, this restaurant. And so he decided to open up a restaurant in San Diego, which is just stone's throw from Tijuana. And when he was opening up that restaurant, he was having a grand opening, and he basically he had too many people show up for his grand opening. And so he was trying to hodgepodge throw together a salad, and what he found in the kitchen to throw together became the infamous Caesar salad. Caesar was his name, and the salad he threw together was what we now put together for is the Caesar salad.
So but more appropriately should be called Caesar's salad.
Yeah, Caesar's salad, and that's actually what it was called, Caesar's salad, because when everyone ate it, they were like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing! This is Caesar's salad." And of course, like I said, he was a Mexican from Mexico who just came across, and this was for his opening in America. So technically, he invented it while he was in his restaurant in the U.S., but he had it in both of his restaurants, and to this day, his family is still alive. They still have those restaurants open, and they still make it the exact same way that he made it that first night, because of how famous it is. Now, the rest of the world is taking it over, and the way they make it, the way they do the salad dressing, it's actually been skewed. It's different. He still does original romaine heads, like in their full form. The dressing's different. The paste is different. All of it is still like original. Now, they use very similar, it's all very similar, but yes, what we go buy at, like a City Market or a Walmart or a Kroger or a Vons or whatever, and it's pre-made and we mix it all up. It's different than it is. And it's funny.
Like so many things, it's an Americanized.
It's funny is if you go to the store and you get Caesar salad dressing and you pick it up, it has a picture of Caesar from Greece. Yeah. And I'm like, you bastard. It should have a picture of the Hispanic dude.
Rome.
I know, or from Rome. Sorry. Yeah, Caesar from Rome. I know, right? I totally messed that up. But yeah, it should have the dude from Mexico.
Romans, Greece, it's the same thing, right?
But I'm like pissed. I'm like, dude, you totally took over this guy's dressing and this is fake, and everyone thinks it's like a Roman thing or a Greece thing or whatever, and it's not. It's totally. This is literally like a Mexican salad. This is amazing. It's my favorite salad.
Greece? Are you greasy or Grecian? How does it?
I don't know. But anyway, it's a Mexican salad that was made in San Diego by a Mexican chef, and it's my favorite salad. That's why I know, because I love history and when I love something, I study it. And I learned about it, and I was like, yeah, that was amazing. And then I learned about it. But anyway, that's super sideline story time. So are we ready for story time?
Sure.
All right.
Moving right along.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I'm
all right. Giggity. So
might be part of the story, but hey.
Yeah. So last week we talked about me doing a I pulled over. We pulled over a cop when I was a teenager, and we did a citizen's arrest. That didn't go so well, but I attempted a citizen's arrest on a cop, and then we talked about how I just recently got pulled over by a law enforcement officer. So what happened was I went to Denver. This was like 4 months ago. I think it was in February. This was just before the whole pandemic thing kind of got crazy. It was like first week of February, I think. So we knew the pandemic was like hitting, but it was before anybody like knew it was in America. Like we hadn't even really had any cases confirmed in America, because I think the first 5 to 15 cases were at the end of February. So we hadn't even had any confirmed cases in America. This was like right at the beginning of February. And so I had gone to, for my work, I had actually gone to Denver off of I-70, and I was coming back. And I'm driving, and as I'm driving, I'm going. I had rented a car. It was actually, was it a Charger, a gray Charger? I think they had given me. I think it was a gray Charger, and of course, it's gonna be the first time it dips. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me.
YouTube again?
No, fake cop. What you gonna do? When fake cop pulls you over? No, all of a sudden OBS decided to dip for a sec. Let's just wait. I don't know what it's doing.
How's it going on your end there, guys? Any glitches?
Yeah, I think it's going to be all right. I'm just waiting for OBS to rebound. I don't know what it's doing.
Off the rebound from downtown.
Yeah, I don't know why OBS is acting funky wonky.
It's giving us a jubilee of colors there.
Yeah.
I haven't seen orange and yellow yet.
Yeah, Ziva says it still sounds okay, but I don't know. I was just going to wait for it to rebound. Okay, it seems fine now, but I don't want to go into story time and then have it do that weird wonky stuff. So, all right. Good on this end. That's good. That's all I want to make sure. It was weird. Oh, I've got to upgrade and switch from OBS to something else probably as well, and who knows. But anyway, so I'm driving back.
Twitch.
So I'm driving back. I'm in a rental car because they always rent. I'm driving back from Denver, and I'm in a sports car because that was the only car they had available. I think it was a Charger, and it's gray. And I'm driving on I-70. It's an international, road. It goes from all the different states. If you're not from the states, there's different kinds of roads. Some roads go from state to state. Some roads,
it goes from state to state.
Yeah. Some are highways. They're within the state, and some are interstates that go from state to state. So it's an interstate. You can go really fast, really fast in the States is like 80. So I'm going, and the speed limit's technically 75, but that's loose, as a cop previous.
Cops don't do that.
Yeah. As a police officer previous, we always, if it was less than 10 over, I wouldn't even look people's way. I mean, if they were within, 5, 10 or whatever, I just let them go. If it was egregious, like they were going 15, 20, I'd pull them over for being egregious, but I would leave them alone otherwise. So I do the same thing myself. If it's, I go 5 to 7 over, and cops never even look my way and I even have it on cruise control, 7 over on cruise, 82 miles an hour all the way, and cops don't even look my way. So most of them are kind of like me, spirit of the law. They don't care. I'm being safe, whatever. So I'm driving on I-70, and there's a car unmarked. It looks exactly like the rental car I have. It's like a Charger. Now, cop cars are like Chargers in the States, at least where I'm from. And it looks like a cop car, but it's unmarked. And as it's in the left lane. Now, first red flag was cops know the law, and there's no cars around, and the left lane is for passing. Okay. So the first thing I note is you got to be in the right lane unless you're passing. And every cop knows this. So if it was a cop, he'd have been in the right lane, or he'd have been pulled over, checking people's speed, but he's driving. So I'm thinking, no, he's probably not a cop because he's in the left lane being an idiot. And he was going 75 in a 75. Most cops are pretty generous with their speeds and normally go about, 80 or whatever in a 75. And they want people to pass them at like 85 so they can pull them over because it's kind of a test or a challenge on the speed limit. So they'll kind of be a pace setter by going 5 over and see if anyone's willing to be dumb enough to pass them. And so he was in the left lane, but he was going 75 in a 75. He looked like a cop car, but he had no markings on him. Now he had an antenna, kind of like he had a CB, but it was a weird antenna, different than any cop car I'd ever seen. It was aftermarket. And then I looked at the license plate. Now I'm very observant. Obviously you can tell because I'm able to tell these details of the story. I used to be a cop, a law enforcement officer. And so I had to learn to become very observant. Now, something to note, when you have a law enforcement car, you don't pay taxes. Why? Because it's paid by the taxes of the taxpayer. So you don't have to actually renew the license plates. And there was a license plate and there were stickers on it. So there was a red flag. Cop cars shouldn't have stickers on the license plate, or at least where the jurisdictions that I'm from, we'd never, my department, the county, the state, like there was never stickers. We never put stickers on the cop cars. So I knew it wasn't state patrol. I knew it wasn't Mesa County, and I was in Mesa County. I was in Colorado. So I knew it wasn't the state jurisdiction. I knew it wasn't the county that I was in, and I knew it wasn't GJPD. So I knew there was, whoever it was, wasn't my jurisdiction. So worst case scenario, they were from some other weird jurisdiction, had no jurisdiction to pull me over, but more than likely it wasn't even a cop car. Had no markings, had no reflective material. Now that was another 3 strikes, you're out. Cops, when they pull people over, get hit on the highway all the time. This is the #1 cause of law enforcement death in the nation. They pull people over, somebody else rubbernecks, smashes into them, kills them. It happens all the time. So they are required by pretty much every department to put not only on the back, but on the sides, reflective material that gives their car away. Because the reflective material tells you that they're a cop, but it actually is reflective for the purposes of safety.
Hey, look at me, pay attention.
Yeah, so it helps you to go, oh, hey, there's something over there. I should swerve and not smash into them. Doesn't really help, but it does give them away that they're a police officer. He had no reflective material. So no reflective material, no lights on the car. I saw no lights in the rear view mirror or in the front as I was passing him. Now, as I'm going to the right of him, because he's still in the left lane, which is the passing lane, going 75 into 75, I start passing him going 80 into 75. I'm inspecting the vehicle this whole time. I notice it's an African-American guy driving, and I notice he looks to the right and he starts checking me out. and he's in plain clothes. He's in a blue dress shirt and khaki jeans. I can actually see through, but he has tinted windows. Strike number 4, because cops don't really have tinted windows where I'm from unless they're an undercover, a UC. And I'm like, if he's undercover, then he should have some lights in the front window or something. And there was no lights in the front window. And there was nothing on the dash that I could see. And then the tinted windows were enough I could see through, and I could see who he was. But I was like, this isn't adding up. Nothing about this seems wrong. Just everything about it seems wrong. But this whole time, right, I'm driving, 80 on the highway, kind of like pacing this guy, slow passing this guy, absorbing all this data about this car not being a cop car, kind of inspecting it, checking it out, wondering what is it, what's going on, why is this guy, here, and realizing that, okay, it's not a cop. And I'm slowly passing it. And then as I realize this, I look forward and there's a semi in the right lane that I'm in going slower than 75. And of course he's in the passing lane, and I realize I've got a decision to make. I either have to slow way down and get behind him, or I have to speed up, and I'm already going 80, or I got to speed up kind of quickly and get in front of him. Well, so what do? I speed up because at this point I've made the assessment he's not a cop. And I thought to myself, if he's a cop, he'll pull me over. So might as well. Well, this is the determining factor. I'm going to find out if he's a cop. So I actually sped up to 85, got in front of him, used my blinker, got in front of him, and passed the semi, and then used my blinker, got back into the right lane and continued to drive. He continued to stay in that right lane. I was in the left lane, or I was in the right lane. He was in that left lane, the passing lane. And we continued down for another mile ish. Then all of a sudden I saw no sirens. I could hear nothing, but I saw lights in the grill, and they were blue only, not blue and red, blue only, flashing with no sirens. Now, number 5, lights on cops, red and blues, like the berries, right? The berries, they're always going to, yeah, cherries and berries. They're always going to be multicolored. They're not going to be yellow or, just like whatever. They're going to actually have the multicolor. 2, they always do it with lights, but they always do sirens if they're, especially at high speeds, because they got to make notification that they're behind you. Lights don't always work. And in a small, like 35 mile an hour environment where they're just like, popping lights, a lot of times people can see that, they'll pull over. But when you're in like a high speed thing, there's a lot of highway wind. You got to make your notification known. A lot of people don't know you're behind them. You got to burp, 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 a little bit, let them know you're behind them. There was no siren, none, 0 sirens whatsoever. So I drove for like another mile with little blue lights in his grill, and they didn't look right. And they kept flashing, and I immediately had to make a decision, like pull over, or because he might, very unlikely, might be a cop, or run from this guy because he might be a murderer. And this is like a weird psycho situation, and I'm going to have to call. So
the roadside serial killer.
Yeah, roadside serial killer. So I was like, looked at my phone. I realized I was running out of, like, we're going into a canyon now, and the canyon was starting to dwindle my reception. It was going like 5, 4, 3. And I immediately I braked really fast, pulled over, and like immediately whipped my car into a 45-degree angle, which cops do. And he pulled behind me, did not do the 45-degree angle. And that flag number 6, he is not using proper etiquette when he pulls people over. And I had to decide, am I going to jump out of the cop car or my car? Immediately my cop mind is like going crazy. And I'm like, do I jump out? Do I run? Do I get to the passenger seat? I didn't have my gun on me because it was a work trip, and I can't during work stuff do that. It was a rental car as well. And I was just like, man, I was really freaking out. Really thought like this, I'm like, I'm okay. So I put it back in drive, and I'm like, I'm about ready to go. I put it in drive. I had my thing on, and he gets out and he walks really fast up to my car. And I'm like, I'm going to mess with this guy's OODA loop. And if he's not a cop, it's going to scare him, freak him out, and I'm going to be able to get out of here. And if he is a cop, it's going to mess with him, but he's going to, he's going to
identify himself appropriately.
But he's going to identify himself appropriately. Now, for all of you who are watching, you're going, what's an OODA loop? What's an OODA loop?
Yeah, I know what it is.
So an OODA loop.
It's a song lyric. No.
Yeah. OODA. 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 Observe, orient, decide, and act. You have to observe something. Everyone does. You have to orient yourself to that which you're observing. You then have to decide what you're going to do with what you're observing and orienting yourself to. And then you have to make an action to that. If what you're observing, orienting, and deciding on changes, you have to reorient, observe, and decide all over again on how you're going to change your action. So if I mess up your entire OODA loop, your entire OODA loop has to be reset and you have to readjust everything. And so it gives you a jump on the individual. So
some people get stuck in this position.
Yeah. And so you use this to your advantage. And so as he's walking up to the cop or to my car, he's walking up, I jump my hand and like my arm and my head out the window. And I'm like, what's going on? And I like looked out the car and I was like, what's going on? What are you doing? And he like stopped at the back of my car and he like punched the side of the trunk because that's where he was at. I scared him so much. He like punched the car. He was like, boom. And he like punched the car, like literally punched the car. And I heard the thong, like, cause he hit the trunk and he goes, hey, and he pointed at me with his other hand. And he goes, you were speeding. And I said, so are you. And he goes, you need to slow down, man. And he goes, you need to slow down. You need to slow down. And he's like, and I'm like, who are you? You need to identify yourself. And he's like, you need to slow down. And you need to be more careful. And I'll give you a warning this time, but you need to slow down. And he turned around and he abruptly got back in his car, his cop car, which did look like a cop car. Cause like I said, it was the same kind of Charger style-esque car. Got in his car, got on like a handheld, what looked like a handheld radio and pretended to like talk to someone, which then I proceeded to call the non-emergency dispatch because I didn't want to call 911. I called non-emergency dispatch and I called them. And as he saw me on my phone, he pulled out. He wasn't even having it. So he pulled out. So then I pulled out and I proceeded to follow him. And so we were going into the canyon. I proceeded to call dispatch. Well, dispatch went to Montrose. Montrose said, we don't have anyone dispatched in your area. And I said, okay, then I'm going to call the other dispatch. So I called the other dispatch for Grand Junction and they said, we have no cops dispatched to your area. Like there's nobody. Like if that's a cop, he's from some random place from La La Land and we don't know who he is. And so you need to keep your distance, be safe. Like we don't know who this guy is. Well, when he realized I was following him, he of course pulled off on a off ramp and I just kept going. I didn't know if he had a gun or not. And I didn't want to, be Mr. Whatever, but but I told him where he had pulled off. So then I kept going. Well, anyway, when I got back to Grand Junction, I pulled off onto a off ramp, was filling up my car with gas. And here he comes just as I'm filling up with gas. 5 minutes later, here he comes on the off ramp and I see him. So I called dispatch again. I say, here he's at this off ramp. This is where he's at. You guys, you need to come get him. And they were like, okay, we're sending officers now. And he turned and went south. And shortly after they called me that evening and they were like, so we got the guy and he was actually not a police officer at all. And he was impersonating officer. And, good job. Well done. You caught a guy who knows who he was profiling and targeting and you scared him and freaked him out. And, he definitely was out there, to do stuff. And the reason why he probably pulled you over was he was just power tripping and you made him mad. So he pulled you over or whatever, but you freaked him out when you jumped outside of the car, kind of threw his OODA loop off or whatever. But one of my buddies from the department called me and said, good job or whatever. And he said, that's the second person that day, the second person that got arrested for impersonating a police officer in Mesa County, where I live, Mesa County. 2 people that day that got arrested. And I was completely blown away. I was really happy that it was actually me who got pulled over. Cause what if it would have been a 17-year-old girl or a 21-year-old, disabled person or, 65-year-old lady or, what was he doing? What was his purpose? And the other person that got, arrested for doing that. What the heck? You know what I mean? Like there's obviously not good intent in what they're doing. And so to be a part of being able to bust that was good. And I was happy to be a part of that. Crazy. So anyway, that's my story time. That happened, like I said, early February this year, nutty. He got totally pulled over. Hopefully. So I always have a meaning to these stories, right? I always tell you guys these, not just to have a crazy story, but
what's the moral?
What's the moral of the story? I'm hoping through telling you all this, you guys learn something as to what a cop car looks like, what cop cars should have, shouldn't have, and the OODA loop thing. I hope that really helps you guys in situations of emergency. If you're in a situation, let's say somebody pulls a gun at a convenience store, knowing that you can actually disrupt somebody's thought pattern enough to be able to, by saying like, oh, there's a cop, and then run, gives you the 3 to 5 seconds you need to be able to get just far enough. He'll miss the first shot and you can escape with your life, because now he's got to decide, do I chase or do I stay and get my money? I was here for this. Now he has to redecide. Am I going to be a venomous killer and just chase this person down to kill him? Or am I going to just get my money and get the hell out of here? You know what I mean? Like, you now have knowledge. Knowledge is power. What does a cop car look like? What should a cop car have? What shouldn't it have? What are the behaviors? Hopefully this information helps you guys understand kind of what it should or shouldn't look like. And then the whole OODA loop thing is law enforcement uses it. Every single cop knows that, uses that to their advantage. It's one of the things they do to take advantage of situations. Every human should use that. Observe, orient yourself, decide on what you're going to do, and act upon it. If you can disrupt another person's OODA loop, you will have an advantage. Fighters use the OODA loop a lot as well. They may just not know that they do, but hopefully this helps you guys. Anyway, I enjoy doing the weekly streams. My thumbnail was my kitty cat sitting on the table right in front of the mic. And I was like, cha-ching, that's a cool picture.
Yeah, sitting there going, when are you gonna have me on the show?
I know. He was like, hey man, what's going on? But thank you, SureShot, for coming on. You guys put out about one video a week on your channel, so that's fun for anybody that wants to enjoy your guys'.
Still keeping up with that.
You guys do lots of different videos. I actually would like to do a few of those videos on my channel as well. Some of those just different weird videos that you guys do.
We're trying to change it up a little bit. Want it to be more of a variety show with somewhat of an overarching theme.
Yeah, you guys do. You do a variety show, so that's fun. Thank you, Artisan K, both for the art that I have framed. Yeah, Artisan K. And for coming on today. I appreciate it. And for everybody that's coming on and participating, great. And if you're watching after the fact, make sure you guys leave your answers to all of the questions in the comments down below. It's always good to have you guys on. Xevious, thank you again. And for everybody else that joined. As always, you guys keep your gaming on. Make sure you guys have fun. And Warrior, SureShot, Artisan K, we are out.